At 6:30 and meet me at the middle of the line out. I cover the gate, you cover the tab, and whatever. Next 4 hours, we forget about logic. Sizing up all the people in the room, cause soon we about to cut loose in the mosh pit.
Oh, welcome to episode 90 of the Red Leaf Retrocast. It's wrestling time. It is Dangerous 5-Star Final. K, that's you. JD, that's me.
Is you.
Ah, what a glorious day. The 5-star is done.
Sure is. Boy, did we have a hell of a week of wrestling.
Ah, it was good.
Not including New Japan. We didn't include New Japan. It's a hell of a week of wrestling without them.
I mean, New Japan had some good matches. I watched them. You didn't, but I did.
I did not.
Today, on this episode after 2 weeks, we have AEW Grand Slam and a little post-Fallout Grand Slam talk. AEW's red hot still, K. I don't know if you've heard.
A piping hot?
It's at least all about the boom. New Japan has the G1 kicking off. Got some hot takes there. Maybe not so hot. Maybe
hot
cold takes.
a lot of hot stuff going on today in the show.
Dude, I had some awesome chip salsa and queso after work today.
Oh, so you ate spicy food. That's why you're so hot.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not drinking for this episode. That's very rare for me. But instead, I have water and Gatorade.
So I mean, at least you're sober for this one. Know how good that's gonna be.
I don't know, maybe it'll be less wild and crazy.
That's never any fun.
Hey, maybe. Dangerous Gate. They had a big 4 pay-per-view called Dangerous Gate. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Maybe.
Yeah, after our last episode, we were not too high on a lot of these promotions going on currently. DDT had Who's Gonna Top, their Fallout pay-per-view after Peter Pan, headlined by Takeshita defending the title against Chris Brooks. We'll get into what's going on in DDT world. Joshi, once we're done with that Bishonen section there of the hot boys. Hot boys.
Who else we called it Bishonen?
Right. Joshi Stardom, 5-star final. Maybe last couple days. I got some stats for some Stardom.
Ooh, I like stats.
Yeah, I like stats too. TJPW, you have stats.
I do have stats.
And I guess we'll preview a little bit of Wrestle Princess 2, since that's coming up. Ice Ribbon ran. Yeah, Knight's Ribbon and Yokohama thoughts.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Especially because there's some new information that's come out as of this morning on Ice Ribbon. Big news going on there.
What, as in some Mexican excursion in CMLL happening? Maybe?
Might be a little more of that. There's some information that's coming out of there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm interested to hear. All Japan Women Classics, episode 53. We start 1992. That's a fun year. I am feeling down on New Japan Retro in 1996. That goes
despair.
Yeah, that's a little format change. You'll start hearing that just kind of molded into the every other week despair of covering WCW Nitro. We are at the fallout of Slamboree 1999. Okay, did you know Surge is on that list with Rick Rude of people that have showed up on Raw and Nitro on the same night?
Ooh. Surge number 1?
Surge is currently number 1, showing up on both shows, Raw and Nitro. On
it made the jump 2 nights.
Yeah. Shows how much both those shows are in 1999. Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible shows.
It's very 90s to have Surge on both shows.
I refuse to let anyone tell me that the Attitude Era was good television.
I think it was good for the time.
No.
I don't think in modern times is any good. I ate that shit up as a child.
No, you ate the last 10 minutes of Raw up. That's what you ate up. The other 4 hours and 50... No, it would have been 5 hours... Wait. No, 4 hours and 50 minutes. God, math. 4 hours and 50 minutes of those two shows were terrible. But anyone remembers is the last 10 minutes of Raw.
Those 10 minutes were very good and memorable The last 10 minutes of Nitro? Well, we'll get to those last 10 minutes.
Awful. Okay, how you been?
All right, how about you, man?
Well, I got something special.
Never despair.
Oh, I got something special. Don't you worry. Ha, I got something queued up. You don't even know.
Don't even know. Went to Beyond together.
Yes, we went to Beyond Wrestling. It still hasn't aired on IWTV.
Get those drones flying around our head, filming everything, and they still haven't used the footage. What a waste of money.
Yeah, it's wild. So Beyond Wrestling had Borscht at the Beach, a double shot super show involving a women's show, and then followed after that was Masha Slamovich Beyond Wrestling special. So it's like 5 hours of wrestling that still hasn't aired. We were there live. We did a full show review with kind of prospect watch over on the Patreon, Red Leaf Retrocast, Patreon. That's where you can find the audio. That's on the $5 tier. So, you get everything if you sign up for the $5. For the lower tier, you'll get the wrestler rankings, which is what we do every 2 weeks to coincide with this podcast. You can see the updated rankings table at redleafretrocast.blogspot.com. But the audio is Patreon exclusive on the lowest tier, along with Joshi 2010s, our journey out of the dark age.
Yeah.
I love doing those. Got a
I
special
love doing
one.
them too. It's great.
Yeah, we got a special one, JWP Mania from 2011.
Yeah,
so,
X.
yeah, I think we're a year and a half into this journey time-wise. So go check those out if you like what you hear from us. With that, Kay, we could do the LLPW and JD Star reviews as well. That's fine.
Yeah, the awesome JD Star reviews. Interesting stuff going on over there.
Yes, sir, indeed. All right. Ready for this? I have this queued up. I got my timestamp ready to write down. No despair. No recommended matches from outside promotions because, well, WWE sucks. Ring of Honor shut down because they can't draw anybody. God knows.
Seedling? What's a seedling?
God knows we're not watching Impact. Seedling had YUU in the main event. I think that kind of speaks to my enthusiasm for that one. But Ryo Mizunami, she's coming back to AEW soon.
Yeah, she's coming back with the seed belt because that's going to prop those seed numbers up.
I believe Meltzer in one of the Observers described that title as sounding like a tuna can specialty or something.
That is really awesome. I hope the people that are in a certain camp of fans just love that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of kind of Joshi indies, a couple rookies retired tentatively or whatever. Hi Bikey, she's kind of still showing up on shows. So kind of
Sendai.
Yeah, Sendai and the I think she's showing up on the GLEAT. That's a legit promotion.
Maybe it exists. I know that's where Miyagi is these days. Not that she's doing much of anything these days anyways. But speaking of rookies retiring, fucking Sendai is one rookie who's been there for a year and a half. Just gone.
Yeah, she's gone. The Wave rookie is gone for
that one was interesting.
Well,
mental health. She said mental health issues.
Yeah.
It's kind of rare for them to just flat out say that in Japan, at least. They usually try to keep that stuff under wraps, but mental health left.
What else? What else is kind of? Jungle Kiana. We'll talk about her in Stardom section. So go check that out, I guess, if you want to skip all the way to there. But don't listen to all our discussion coming up. You know what, Kay? I've stalled for time. Time for me to play the drop and get to the Bishonen.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Oh, I got this continuing to play in the background. Kay, it is Cody Rhodes' song that you're hearing right now.
Oh, you asshole.
What? Okay, I watched Rhodes to the Top, baby.
Why did you do that to yourself?
I have done it. I put myself through roads to the top. Maybe that's a little
It
loud.
was passable. Was it at least passable?
All right,
as a show.
I'll turn that off. Whoa! Cody Rhodes has a show.
He's a mark for himself.
Nah, come on. It's Cody Rhodes. He is our American Joshi Homelander hero.
Joshi, get the fuck out of here with that.
Nah, come on. Joshi hero, Cody Rhodes.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Fucking hero of himself and his ego.
Dude, it debuted this past Wednesday. I was having my chips and salsa. I had my phone. There was a repeat baseball game on. The Tube. People still call it the Tube? Probably
No.
not, because they don't have tubes anymore.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've had tubes.
So I'm sitting there. I'm not about to watch another Baltimore Orioles versus Red Sox game this year and this season.
Oh, yikes.
So
Orioles, they suck.
I'm like, Roads to the Top debuted. I tried to get Parkman to review this with me for the Patreon, but I lost the bet.
Oh.
Because Cody Rhodes was supposed to beat one Malachi Black
I think that didn't
at
happen.
Grand Slam, and that did not happen. That's scrub. He decided to pay attention to Arn Anderson and lose, getting misspitted in his face, the black kind. I think that blinds him permanently or whatever. And
Yeah, let's go with kayfabe.
oh yeah, and Arn Anderson, this past Dynamite, made him pay for it. He fucking compared Cody to a little bitch in GTA, and Arn Anderson's gonna fucking shoot a guy.
Yeah, he specifically get his Glock out. I was like, oh, Arn, got a Glock? Ooh, that's hard. No more. Glock time.
Arn Anderson is tired of this Cody Rhodes bullshit.
No, you get the Glock.
I fucking adored that. So I'm like, I gotta watch this Roads to the Top. I have to get behind Team Cody even more now. And honestly, okay, I like Homelander Cody.
You are such a fucking mark.
I love this guy.
You're a mark.
He's the biggest heel in the company next to the Elite, and he doesn't even know it. It's fucking great.
Such a mark for Cody. I can't believe I'm hearing this.
So I watch Roads to the Top, and I'm ashamed of myself. Okay, I like the show.
You should have taken a hot shower and thought about what you did.
Oh, I felt dirty. It was definitely not the fried jalapenos I was eating. It was. I'm watching this show, and it's Cody and Brandy. They cut to him every now and again, and they got some like cute little back and forth, and they're telling like dick jokes and stuff, and it's being bleeped out. I'm like, oh, okay, I got some humor going on. It's a reality show, so you can expect some over dramatization of some characters for television entertainment purposes. You know, reality TV.
Insert what a mark gif here.
Okay, that's fair. I deserve it. It's
Oh, you do.
I feel like Mark Trash right now. It's fine. And it's a lot of Brandy. Oh, it's a lot of Brandy. She's all.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, she's all prego. She's talking about being prego. There's a baby shower, and I'm like, okay, I'm not into that. They talk about, there was an interesting tidbit in there during the baby shower where they're discussing Brandy's kind of not getting alongness with Cody's sister, and it's mostly about Brandy kind of not being part of the wrestling family. There's still some tension there. And there was one day when I think it was AEW started, she started using the Rhodes name, and the sister specifically didn't appreciate that. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I can actually buy that as some real tension, and the sister kind of comes across as that kind of person that would be on the bitter side of that spectrum. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
We're having a recap of Roads to the Top on this wrestling
yes,
podcast.
yes, you are. Oh yeah, this is happening. You're listening to this.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so there's some backstage AEW stuff with Cody's EVP
Team and
role.
Gorilla?
Hmm?
Team and Gorilla?
No, not really all of that kind. Tony Khan kind of comes in, makes some appearances. There's a really, really good section. This is actually a good part. There's a section focused on Ricky Starks around when he was told he broke his neck with the fracture. And it cuts to Ricky Stark, like they're kind of showing Ricky Starks being told of this, and you like kind of see the devastation of his eyes, and he's being pulled off TV, or at least in the ring, and he's worried about losing his spot, losing his momentum, losing his role on TV, and his kind of anxiety behind it. And so Ricky Starks like really came off as great during this and real.
Just telling me we should get Rhodes to Starks. That should be the actual show.
I mean, if I get enough segment, and the thing is, I feel like there was enough of those that kind of backstage stuff with Rhodes to the Top that I can put up with the Brandy Prega.
Now, answer me this. Does Riho make an appearance? Because that would be the first time she's made an appearance on TV in a long time.
Riho was there for like 2 seconds as they showed backstage stuff. It also showed Sheeta for like 2 seconds as well, doing backstage stuff.
Jesus Christ! Even in like this show, they just bury the two Joshi. 2 seconds.
Yeah, no Bucks, no Omega. It was mostly around at least the first episode. The Rhodes family and pregnant Brandy, and kind of getting you introduced to the kind of role Cody has, and he helps put together and organize the show with QT and Tony Khan, so this makes sense. Brandy's part of Human Resources. They kind of focus on her trying to mend the locker room, so they showed a small segment where Red Velvet was kind of upset with Jade Cargill getting slapped a little too hard, and Red Velvet thought that she kind of shot on her a bit, and I'm like, okay, this might be over-exaggerated, I'm sure, for the reality show.
It might be a work.
It might be a work, so I'm not quite buying, like, I'm buying that there could have been a little animosity because she got hit too hard, and they talked about it. I don't doubt, like, that actually happened, but how it was presented on the reality show, I was like, okay, this is probably just kind of ridiculous. So that's
what a segment where Brandy's like, now Riho, this is your allotted amount of TV time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Time is on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, what else? Oh, and my favorite part, which was hysterical. Cody's talking about his little Liberty promo against Anthony Ogogo.
That really long, cringy promo, yeah?
Oh yeah. And there's like this crazy build up to it. He's like, Brandy, I need this. And she's like, is there something I should be worried about? And he goes, maybe a little, it might be a little split. It might be a little controversial, maybe. And she just goes, okay.
Little did he know, it wasn't controversial. It was just really cringy. Everyone was just confused on what the fuck he was even trying to talk about.
Well, in reality TV's greatness, the way they cut it up made it seem like it was this awesome... like groundbreaking promo.
Oh, it was saved in editing is what you're telling me?
Oh yeah. And it shows backstage, it's like Dustin's dialed in, he's like got a tear in his eye, Brandy's wiping away tears, she's biting her bottom lip.
That's all fucking work. That's all a work. There's no way in hell that fucking rambly ass promo got any emotion anywhere outside of confusion.
Oh, I'm sure it affected those two.
I imagine Brady had to put some teardrops in her eyes when she was crying for the cameras, but in her head she'd be like, what the fuck is this motherfucker talking about?
Yeah, well. Alright, so that's Rhodes to the Top. You might be hearing more of Rhodes to the Top.
maybe we don't no one needs to hear about Rhodes to the Top.
Look, man, this needs to be covered. This is very important. Wrestling only has one royal family, Kay, and it's the Rhodes.
I feel like wrestling has no royal families because none of them are fucking wealthy enough to be one.
I can't believe you would say such a thing.
Well, I shall. I did.
I'm gonna bite my bottom lip. Blood might be coming out like Brandy. Just me holding back my raw rage. No, I'm sorry, nitro rage. There we go. That's a better phrase.
Ooh, nitro rage. Is it gonna come with more Kevin Nash or less Kevin Nash?
So AEW had Grand Slam. Okay.
It did. All the 2 nights of shows.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me pull up the AEW cage match. love this site, this cage match site. It's good.
It's pretty useful. Very useful.
Very useful.
Especially because they run so many shows, you forget what happened when and where.
Ah, well, I'm not in the business of a lot of notes these days because the discussion's better than the matches at this point. And I think at this point in the podcast, the matches kind of speak for themselves. We did not cover the show before that, but that was Adam Cole's debut. FTR is kind of on this low-key little run, but they also lost to Darby and Sting. We'll get to all that.
So not much of a run then.
Well, they seem to be being built up for things outside of the tag title scene. And I'm wondering if that involves Impact Wrestling. It's kind of the
you don't
feeling
involve
I'm getting.
TNA. Never involve TNA. Leave TNA out of this. It's about enough to get TNA's tag champions on the show.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. But they are definitely building up Jade Cargill for a big win coming up.
You mean Jade Berg?
Yeah, Jade Berg. With the pretty much confirmed rumor of the women's TBS title instead of tag titles, all of a thing, I'm really getting the feeling that Jade Cargill will be the first champion.
Do you say that, but watching the last Dynamite, they seem to be forming tag teams with matching gear, and so it's maybe they're tag belts and not a single belt.
I mean, I definitely prefer tag belts because you can do more stories, you get more women on the screen. I think tag wrestling will at least give more variety to the women's division. That's my take, rather than just a second singles title.
I also want Emi Sakura and Shida to be a tag team and call it Choco Ribbon.
I wonder if they just straight up just call it Choco Pro.
just fucking rip the entire... No, they have to call it Gato Move now.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Well, why not Shida and Riho? And Emi Sakura as like a trio?
That'd be trios belts then.
Well,
Freebird rule that shit.
Freebird rule that. Icebird rule?
Icebird? Jesus Christ. I mean Articuno? Does Articuno rule that shit?
Yeah. Okay. Adam Cole. Let's talk about some Adam Cole.
He's over. He's really over.
It's all about that boom.
His song was actually like, at first I was like, is that a Rage Against the Machine song?
Oh yeah, I could hear that for sure.
Yeah, but it's not. But I thought it was at first. Like, oh shit, they're just dishing out money for songs. All right, Tony Khan.
Yeah, so they got in Danielson, they got in Punk, and now they got in Cole, and it's super interesting because it's almost like this dude belongs in the company. He fits so well in with the Elite, and his character, like he's already there at that top level. He just really fit in like a glove. I think they handled his debut and his that trios match on Rampage, Bucks against Jurassic Express and Christian, his match last night on Dynamite against Jungle Boy. Like everything is just flowing so well for this guy. He's super over. The crowd loves his entrance, loves his shtick, and then when he gets in the ring, they've really made an environment where, because he's with the Bucks and their heels, and Jungle Boy is so loved, he is coming across as that heel that you want to boo, and you're in it for the ride. And I really like this dynamic AEW has made with a lot of the wrestlers, where you're playing along.
I like it as well. I think it's a really cool thing because I think for the longest time, I always thought when the heel was cool, people cheered for him, right? That's what I remember doing when I was watching the Fed still. If I liked the heel, I just cheered for the heel. You're not supposed to, right? Instead of cheering for them throughout the match, just cheer for the entrance, get into the entrance, which is fine, right? Like the wrestler. But then when the match starts, the bell rings, you boo them because you're supposed to. And I think that's a very good dynamic that things are. And I think it's good that the fans are willing to play along and not hijack things. I think it's also a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great indication that you're appeasing your audience when the audience wants to play along like this. And Adam Cole's a great example of that right now.
There's an opposite example of that too. There's the Mega Top Team guy where they're trying to, the fans are almost about to hijack the show at times, where they're getting the what chance here and there. That's I think a sort of a dynamic where it shows that that's not over. The fans don't like that. I think that maybe should be a sign for.
I don't get that same feeling. I think a lot of fans.
Yeah, they got a few what chance the last Dynamite. They got a few what chance that would try to pipe in there, especially when Ethan Page was talking.
Well, what's weird about American Top Team is the Dan Lambert character and the MMA guys, I think, are doing well, but the story and program about these guys just seems to be spinning their wheels a little too much, and that's where it's losing the crowd.
Too long.
I love the Dan Lambert promos.
I don't. There's the same thing. He just insults the fans each time, and it's not creative enough. It's like, as I said this when I was watching this, it's like you have MJF who does the same thing, but is creative about it. So it never feels like he's just saying the same thing over and over again. Whereas Dan Lambert, all he could say is, you're wrestling fans, you smell, you masturbate in your mom's basement. That's all he says. It's to the point where it's like...
Well, do you deny any of these claims, Kay?
Deny at least half of them.
Okay, all right. That's fair.
So long as you deny the other
Joke's
half.
on them. Well, joke's on them. I never grew up with a basement, so couldn't have done
neither did I, actually. So there you go.
There are no basements in Houston. They would flood.
It's like his promos are long-winded. He did get a few what chants piped in there, though it did seem like he talked enough where the crowd couldn't fit him in as much. Ethan Page wasn't so lucky. He got a few piped in there. But it's a segment that I could tell isn't getting over, and it's not. I know I'm tired of seeing it. Like, there's only so many times you can insult the crowd, especially when you already have two people on the show that do it, and one of them does it super well. You would see, I think the next segment after it, and one that doesn't do it well enough. I think Dan Lambert's shtick is too long-winded, too long in the tooth, and I think they're better off if they don't do it every week, and if they cut his promo time down in, at least in half.
Well, okay, I don't disagree with your take exactly. Because we've seen the first payoff work live at Grand Slam when Jorge Masvidal and Paige Van Zandt and company just hit the ring and destroyed Jericho and Hager. Like, that worked. That was really hot. Masvidal is a superstar. But my issue is we have Paige and Sky, and I'm just looking at them and Lambert, and just go, I don't know what we're doing
stars. Paige and Sky are like the background characters. They're supposed to say this whole thing's supposed to be about them, but they're like the background. And
I'm really confused with that.
When they talk, they're so not over that you can just tell. You can just tell they're not over.
Yeah.
The crowd doesn't care. I don't care. Scorpio Sky's become the most mid wrestler on the entire roster. Ethan Page is just lesser, far lesser MJF. He tries so hard to be cool and he's cocky and arrogant, but he hasn't done shit, so he hasn't done anything, he hasn't achieved anything, he hasn't wrestled anybody, so him coming off like this, I walk like a champion, you haven't even challenged for a belt yet. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's kind of the one big negative on the show. But it's sad, because the angle was super awesome. I love that Jorge Masvidal angle. And I'm not even an MMA guy, but I know these guys, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do more of that. But anyways, let's talk about the good stuff. So back to Adam Cole, I wanted to make the comment that imagine a year ago, you said this company would have Danielson, Punk, and Cole on this roster. It's pretty nuts that they would get the two kind of biggest stars of the generation, plus the rival program's top star and champion. It's pretty wild to think about.
Honestly, as much as in hindsight it seems like it's wild to think about, but I think if you actually just sit down and think about it, it's not all that crazy, especially when all the rumors are going around about those people leaving and have been for a while. It kind of feels like it's the natural progression. The rumors just don't pop out of nowhere, and if they were nothing, then they would have stopped after a while, but they never did.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Well said. AEW Grand Slam, the rest of the show. Obviously, we have to mention Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega went to a 30-minute
great fucking match,
time limit draw, 5-star TV type match. I see no reason to not also give it 5 stars. I have it ranked as my
5 stars.
I have it ranked as my number 2 match of the year for AEW. Like, it wasn't even a question. It was that good, that entertaining. They mixed in a little strong style, some technical, a huge environment for it. The crowd was just they were ecstatic for this. Like, the closer the match got to the time limit, the intensity and violence of the match kind of went up. Omega was just a game, like G1 Omega, and Danielson was right there for the ride, taking a fucking dragon suplex off the top
He was
rope.
out of his brain. He was just out of his mind that entire match.
Yeah, I never saw a match this good with Bryan Danielson in WWE. Never.
I think the biggest thing that I took away from it, outside of just how great the match entirely was for 30 minutes, they never slowed down.
No grapple fucking.
There was no rest spots. There was no grapple spots at the beginning. There was no slow feeling each other out. It was like the bell rang and they immediately started trying to go at each other. And I thought that was great because when we get to the 5-star, I'll have a complaint about that with a specific wrestler where I don't like when you can tell a match is going to be a draw because the beginning is like super slow. It's slow in a specific way. They're really feeling each other out that you're like, oh, this is going to a draw. Too much in wrestling where that formula kind of goes that direction. And I feel like that usually kind of ruins it for me sometimes.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of that with G1 matches where they're just padding out for length, and it definitely feels like that at times.
You can always tell because there's a certain style to it. There's a certain way that they feel each other out that you could tell they're trying to kill time.
At least in the first 5 minutes, sure.
But it usually makes it obvious. But this time they didn't. It was bell rings. They're immediately trying to go at each other and do things, and they didn't slow down. There was a whole bunch of stuff out on the outside that I thought was great. A few knee exchanges, some really wicked knee exchanges. It just overall, it was a great match, and honestly, I think it's my number 1 match of the year for them.
Even more than the Young Bucks cage match, eh?
I feel like that one's kind of above it. Yeah, I think that one had a lot of the emotional payoff that it needed. So you're probably right there. Yeah, I got you. Story and shit, story and stuff and all.
Aha, gotcha. Okay, yeah, and there, I like the story being told. Danielson is a big fucking deal, best wrestler. Got into Kenny Omega. They go to this draw, and Omega's like, "Whoa, I'm champion. I gave you this one match. You didn't beat me. Back of the line, get some wins, bitch." And we got a story to full gear.
Love that though. But is that the story to full gear, or is the story to full gear Adam Page still?
No,
I haven't seen him come back yet.
I don't think it's. We only have, I believe, 5 weeks before full gear.
You build something in 5 weeks. You never know.
Yeah, I just don't think it doesn't feel like Page even needs to come back currently. Not with the landscape he left. So, this Danielson story is hot. I'm into it. You're into it. It's highly recommended. I like every segment they do. Maybe Danielson comes off as a little WWE still in his promos, but
yeah, I got that too. It was like this doesn't feel like everyone else's promos, kind of.
I can't really fault someone who kind of worked that way for a decade to just overnight not be that anymore. So. Not bothering me too much, but it is making me laugh that every week he comes out in a white t-shirt.
Yeah, how many white t-shirts does this guy have? For real?
It's the same one every time, okay? He just washes it.
Oh, yeah, he just never changes it. He goes to bed with it, takes a shower with it on.
Let's see, what else we got at Grand Slam? Let's see, MJF beat Pillman. Yeah, it's fine. It's about what you expect out of that match. It was a fine
match, yeah.
It was later that he's now being built up as part of the 4 young pillars with Darby Allin and who else did he name? Jungle Boy?
Darby, Jungle Boy, him.
And Sammy Guevara.
Sammy, yep.
Interesting that those are the 4 names. I was thinking about this, and I love how they're calling them the 4 young pillars, kind of like the 3 Musketeers of New Japan, when it was like Nakamura, Tanahashi, and Shibata, pillars, All Japan Pro Wrestling, goes without saying. So I was thinking about whom would be, because Paige, I've even heard people go, Paige wasn't in there. And I don't consider Page part of that group, mostly because he was in the world title picture from the start, and he's been presented as a top star from the start. He's just in the chase for everything. I put Page in that same category as Pac, funny enough.
I put him above Pac, but I think that's because I've seen more stuff with him than Pac lately. I think the perception of that is I think he's above him, even though he's kind of missing right now. Both of them are really.
Yeah, well, you got all those kind of guys that you feel can be in a main event without being built up from scratch like these guys were, because for all intents and purposes, like MJF, Guevara, Darby, like they were just low-level indie guys before Dynamite, and it's been AEW that's built them up from the start. Meanwhile, your Pac, your Page, your Miro, your Black, those guys were kind of made men in other major American companies prior, and it's been AEW's job to kind of keep them at that level, which they've done. So it's kind of like different tiers to all this, and when I'm kind of putting all this together, I go, okay, how are these guys slotting? How are they going? Can they keep the momentum of their presentation? And it's a very fascinating chess game that AEW is playing right now, and from what I can tell, it's definitely working.
Yeah, so I got a bit of a, I guess you might be considered a bit of a hot take, a bit of a forward bet, future bet. I think MJF is the biggest star of all those four you mentioned.
Currently, yeah. I mean, he's had a world title match. He's super well protected.
Not just that, but I think his in-ring storytelling ability is above the other three.
Sure.
And I think his promo ability is above the other three. I mean, we saw him and Darby have a promo back and forth, and man, he really made Darby look bad. Not bad. That's probably one way to phrase it. He exposed Darby's inability to cut a convincing promo.
Well, Darby has a different, like, everyone has these different sort of promo abilities. It's not all about being the serious wrestler type. Not everyone can be Bret Hart. Is kind of what I'm saying.
Right. No, I think he needs to find his promo ability, because I think whatever he's doing is not. I don't think it's gonna work.
I
think
like
he needs
emo Darby promos. You're not gonna break me, MJF. You won't do it.
It's his delivery that comes off a bit whiny. I kept trying to find a word for it, but when it's like I'm not gonna mentally break it. I was like, oh, come on, a little whiny, little. I don't know. Just, had enough confidence behind it. I get it's kind of sort of this thing, but
I disagree.
If you're gonna do a promo, kind of like that brooding promo, you kind of have to have a brood to it, and I think he just needs a little bit more time to find that. I'm not saying he's bad. Or he's never gonna find it. I'm just saying compared to the other three, boy, MJF outshines them all. But my biggest bet here, I think MJF in the next 10 years, assuming AEW stays in existence for the next 10 years, you never know with shit, right? He's gonna be a generational heel.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably a good bet.
He'll be a generational heel up with the likes of Ted DiBiase and stuff when it's all said and done.
I love that comparison. I love that.
I think he just knows what to do. He gets it so well. You should never turn this man babyface. That would be the dumbest thing you could ever do, because he is so goddamn good as a heel. He's a forever heel. That's what you do. You don't. I mean, did Ted DiBiase ever become a face? I sure hope not, because if he did, that's dumb. But it's like certain people don't turn face. You don't turn them face.
Well, prior to his $1 Million Man, just
don't count. We don't count. I don't count that. That's not Ted DiBiase, the great generational heel. That's just some guy named Ted DiBiase.
Where were we? Let's see. Mentioned Cole, MJF. I talked about Cody. Oh, I didn't mention Brandy wants to come back to the ring and go for the title.
No! Somebody fucking stop her.
She was very adamant about that in the in Roads to the Top. Oh boy.
Somebody what was that ice skater that got her leg hit in with the
Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah, Nancy Kerrigan, this woman.
Well, Cody kind of did. He just injected her with the baby batter, so
she's done with that now. So fucking Nancy Kerrigan, this bitch, don't let her get back on the ring. She's terrible, and she's never gonna get good. She's never gonna be a good wrestler. This division already has enough baggage on it. Please don't fuck it up any more than you already.
It's coming. Oh, it's coming.
God damn it! I sure hope that she just doesn't wrestle. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope somebody shuts that train. She's not a wrestler. She likes to think she's a wrestler. No. Not a wrestler. If Io Shirai can't get a decent match out of you, you need to not be wrestling.
Still going.
It's a fact. That's a rule I live by.
Still going on about it, like everyone doesn't know.
You can't get a good. If Io Shirai cannot get a good match out of you, you need to hang the boots up. You will never be good. You will never be decent. You won't even be passable.
Ricky Starks seems like he's on a collision course with CM Punk. I'm into it.
Into it as well.
Okay, I like how they're using. I like how they're using CM Punk currently.
I had a Powerhouse Hobbs match was really good. I did not have high expectations for that match because we haven't seen much of Powerhouse Hobbs in a while. I don't think we've seen him wrestle in a while, so I haven't.
Yeah, he nailed it.
That
here.
match
It was a good job.
Oh yeah, star making performance on his end. It was great.
Inner Circle Lucha Bros against Hardy Family Office. How are you feeling about the HFO right now? What's your feel on it?
Kind of sick of them. I feel like they're everywhere. They feel like they're fucking everywhere, and I'm kind of one of those people where it's like kind of like the Nightmare Factory was for a while, though, where it just feels like everybody's everywhere from that faction. It's like after a while, it's like I don't want to hear the same music or to see the same graphics anymore. Just kind of quietly put that out to pasture, please. Thank you.
I'm so torn on it because there's a part of me that really likes it, but it's not like I like the idea of them being this kind of mid-card heel faction. And it's specifically for mid-carders and other guys to kind of get wins over them. And when you do things like building up a Jack Evans Orange Cassidy hair match, and you're turning an awesome stipulation into this pseudo comedy thing, that's where you lose me. And there's just too much.
Me too.
Yeah, there's just too much of that in the HFO because it's not the group itself that bothers me. It's just kind of, and it's not even their matches really that bother me either because I like seeing Private Party and Butcher and the Blade, the Bunny. It's definitely working out for the Bunny. She's on TV like every week. Crazy. I don't know what's going on there.
The big problem is there's so many members. There's too many members. There's like 3 tag teams in this group.
They had a 16-man tag with the Dark Order.
I know. And that match was not good. It was not a good match.
Come on.
The last minute or so were good, and I can talk about the Dark Order. I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel, but I do not care about the Dark Order center drama shit. I could not care less.
Well, it kind of built up all 4 of them coming together again for that show.
If that was the whole point of all this, then I don't get it.
Well, it was for a nice little moment at Rochester for the Brody Lee thing. Yeah, if that was the purpose, I'm okay with it. I think they could have done something more with Hangman Page coming back for something like that. But oh well. I just don't. We'll see what direction they go of next.
I don't think I care. They feel so directionless and not there. And I get that that's not entirely their fault, right? But it's just, with at least Adam Page being there, they felt like they had some direction. With him gone,
yeah, they need him back.
Why are you guys? What are you guys doing? And then I don't care about the inner strife between Uno and was it Grayson? I don't care.
Well, maybe it's over now. Maybe it's over now, and something else is going to happen. Well, this is a case where we're going to have to see how they take the Dark Order and HFO, and we already spoke about Men of the Year and Dan Lambert kind of situation. There's a lot of wheels turning, and we just don't really have a feel of where they're going to go or what purpose it has. It's not the end of the world because they're just they're just kind of mid-card things happening.
Yeah, they're not offensive enough for me to be upset about them. It turned me off. But
that's kind of the point I want to make. It's like it's not a big deal considering that everything else that matters on the show is hitting.
Right. It feels like the problem is that they have too many factions. The problem is they have so many factions not doing anything. That's the problem. It's like I don't care.
No, they're all doing something. We just don't really know what's the goal.
Right, everything kind of, but it just feels like, at least at this point, HFO kind of feels like they're there. Dark Order kind of feels like they're there. Like there might be stuff going on, but it's nothing interesting. Nothing that feels like it's worth paying attention to. What's going on with the Nightmare Factory? Is that even still a thing anymore?
Of course, yeah. Come on, man. Arn Anderson pulled a Glock on Cody figuratively.
Yeah, but that seems more like an Arn and Cody thing.
Oh, that's Nightmare Factory. Lee Johnson got the win. Coach went with him. He put Cody in the rear view mirror. That's what Nightmare Factory. Come on.
You know what? So long as QT Marshall ain't showing the fuck up anymore, I think I'm all right then.
Yeah, see? Small victories, Kay.
Small victories.
Okay. Kingston Moxley defeated Suzuki-gun. Lights out match. That was fine. That was fun.
It was good.
Homicide made an appearance.
Yeah, I don't... Why is he there? Like, what was the deal with that?
You don't know the history?
Oh?
Oh. Well, Homicide...
Explain it to me either,
okay.
So...
Well, I mean, they kind of mentioned it. Homicide is this heavy New York indie mentor. He's been around for like 2 decades plus. He got a big pop in New York. They knew who he was. And it made for a nice little moment. And he was in TNA forever with kind of LAX and crew with Conan and company.
I feel like I vaguely remember seeing this then.
Yeah, you would definitely recognize kind of the group.
Right. So then my question is, why did he come in on this? Was it just because of New York thing, or does he have any ties to anybody?
Yeah, he has ties to Eddie Kingston. That's who Eddie Kingston idolizes the guy. Santana Ortiz idolized the guy. Yeah,
he idolized Kobayashi. Or Kobashi.
Well, yeah, he can have heroes.
Well, some heroes are on different levels then, because I don't think I'd put Homicide on that same level.
I guess our last topic is the women's division.
Oh, what women's division?
Well, I mean, yes, that's true. Britt Baker, Ruby Soho. Britt Baker defeats her. Shit finish. I wasn't impressed with Ruby Soho.
Yeah, she kind of came off like kind of little off. Like it
looks like she's been in WWE for years, not doing much. That's what it looked like.
She botched like a lot of simple things. It felt like she was on the opposite end of the Britt Baker, sort of like missing timing, missing spots, like not knowing where to be right away. Britt had to wait on her a few times. It felt weird seeing Britt wait on somebody, not somebody waiting on Britt, because that's usually how that goes.
Yeah, basically.
It was very weird. And the minute I realized that, I was like, oh, hey, Ruby, gonna need a little bit of time, aren't you?
Yeah, she's gonna need some. I wanted to say time in the kitchen to cook, but that's not quite the phrase that's appropriate.
You want to rephrase that?
Yeah, I do. It's practice.
She's gonna need some time in the dojo and get prepared for this shit, because it seems like she looked a little off.
You know what I meant with the kitchen comment.
No, I don't know what you mean, you sexist pig.
No, come on, I didn't say it like that. That's not what I meant. Why are you doing this to me? Yeah.
Where's Riho at? God damn it, give me my Joshi.
Well, Riho's in Japan for TJPW. Shida was finally advertised for a match randomly next week on Dynamite. Just, hey, you're going for 50 wins. It's like, oh, sure? You haven't been on TV since fucking May.
Yeah, she's facing Serena Deeb, who hasn't been on TV since
May.
Most of the year feels like
she hasn't been in AEW since May, but she had a knee injury, so that's fine. But
so
you would never know with this company when it comes to the women's division.
So Shida had a red suit thing going on and a red coat just on her shoulders. I was like, so like the Yakuza game, she's gonna throw it off and have a big back tattoo. It'd be awesome. Shida wins that match, right?
I'm not
You're
so
not having
sure.
Shida lose that. If they have Shida lose, I will come on this podcast and throw a fit.
I mean, does it even matter at this point?
Making a big deal about 50 wins, bitch. Just give her 50 wins. How hard is it? Serena Deeb is not doing anything. Neither is Shida. But at least give Shida something. God damn it, she's the star. She's the real star between the two.
I mean, I think they're both stars. I said
Shida's
this on
the
Twitter.
star.
I'm like, hey, this is a cool match, but it should definitely have been something built up, because Deeb is a is one of the bigger stars for the division. Shida's the longest champion, going for 50 wins. This feels like it should have been an easy slam dunk built over at least a few weeks, but it's just, nope, next week, here's a promo package, whatever. It's
Women's division only has 3 stars: Shida, Riho, and Britt.
No, it has 1 star, K. It's Britt Baker. No, nobody else matters.
No, I mean, that's the Tony Khan things, but no, it's Riho. The tempo suggests Riho.
Yeah, well,
Ignore that.
I guess that's it for AEW. It's a lot of fun to watch. Has its flaws, but the main event and the semi-main, and I would say you know what, I would put like 70, at least 3/4 of every single show feels incredibly hot to me, and that's a good hit rate.
I go with that. My only concern is what they're going to do when they have to start cooling back down. That's my one thought.
No, you never cool down, Kay. We've seen what happens when companies cool down. Don't do that.
Can't be hot forever.
Yes, you need to be hot consistently.
I don't know. Listen, not every company is going to be
Your
pulling that hotness
cooldown is the
forever.
reset after a pay-per-view, and it takes you like 2 weeks to get going again. That's your cooldown.
That's what I'm referring to, I guess, maybe. I don't know. It feels like
we're
there's a
already
lot of
past
things
that.
going on.
So now we're hot.
There's a lot of things going. I guess.
Okay.
Shit, though, regardless.
All right. I think it's Nuge time. New Japan. Where's my drops? What should I play? Rainmaker back? Rainmaker back. Yeah. You agree, Kay? Thank you.
Yeah, him and his slip discs.
Alrighty, we're going to roll right through this one. So the G1 started. They're like 6 nights in already. And I am 100% picking and choosing my matches here.
That's smart. I am just picking and choosing not to watch it at all.
So I'm listening. I got my couple reviewers that are reviewing the whole tournament. I'm listening to them and their thoughts over it. And the consensus is, and I got this feeling too, because I watched like a match or two that, you know, like a Goto match, and kind of piqued my interest, like what they would provide. I watched Shingo Nagata, for example, in Kobe. And the good news, Kay, is the wrestling is very solid across the board. And that's not really a surprise because of the talent that New Japan has. Evil matches are still ass of assness, and they still do ref bumps way too much, even outside of evil matches, kind of back to back. So that's still very daunting. Avoid at all costs. Okay, so that's fair. But the wrestling is still solid, even from the guys that you wouldn't be into. That said, because I'm not into the product as much as, you know, we have in the past, I really have a hard time watching these, you know, long 25-minute plus matches when you know a guy really doesn't have a shot at winning the damn thing. And you kind of know the booking patterns of this guy gets hot at the start of the tournament and then he loses like 4 in a row and gets out of contention. So like Great Okan, I was like, okay, that's kind of what's going to be his role. But in kayfabe perspective, if you can kind of get past a lot of that, then the tournament's been good. You know, it's got a good hit rate. My personally is it's just not worth the full investment into, so it's just kind of a pick and choose. There's been some really good shout-out matches to definitely check out. Namely, basically all of Zack Sabre Jr. stuff so far. This dude feels hot, K. Zack Sabre Jr. I'm really getting the feeling he's going to win the block. Because Naito's out with his knee injury. He faced Zack in day 1 and then out of the tournament, knee injury. So he's done. And Zack then follows up with tapping out Shingo and Ibushi. So those are huge wins. And if he can kind of continue this kind of roll through the G1, that's a great story to tell. And with Okada on the other end of the block, hitting Rainmakers, being in a phenomenal shape, He's cocky. He's chippy. Like, Okada's awesome. These two just feel like they're on a collision course for the final, and Zack is teasing these submission holds, and Okada hits a Rainmaker after his arm's been worked on all match, and Okada buries this dude right into the mat with a massive clothesline. That is something I would just love to see. And Shingo's just been fucking lights out. He's awesome. There's no shock there. And Ishii, you know, between him and Goto, they're great wrestlers. I love watching them. They don't have a snowball's chance in hell winning, but they put in great matches. I've been watching them. They're both like 0-3 to start, or 1-4.
Jesus Christ, that's not good.
Look, they're not pushed guys anymore. They're pushing younger guys or more guys that are in, higher programs. So your Goto and Ishii's, they can play spoiler. Like, that's their role later in the tournament. They put guys over and they play spoiler because they have big match credibility. And that's fair. I don't really got a problem with that. It's just what they are now. Don't pretend otherwise. When you pretend otherwise, that's when you get like a KZ situation.
Oh yeah, I mean, you learned that firsthand. KZ time doesn't exist.
So, Shingo Ishii is probably the best one of the tournament so far. Okada Tanahashi on night 2 is, I would say, the second best. Not even in the tournament was Shingo Yuji Nagata. That's like my third favorite. And then Zack and Shingo was excellent as well. That was the first Zack Sabre Jr. match that, even though it went like 27 minutes, it really wrote me in the whole time. And I've said this before. I like Zack Sabre Jr.'s style. I like his uniqueness. When he starts getting over that 22-minute area is where it starts to lose me, because it's this super ground submission game. It's still interesting. However, it takes me out of it because it's just been going on so long of doing that. But him tapping guys out after all that, that raises my eyebrow of interest. That's kind of my loose G1 thoughts.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been very good, at least for the most part, outside of Evil. I just can't. I'd like to watch, but I feel like I don't want to burn myself out because we already have so much, especially on Stardom's end.
Yeah, the 5-star was going on. Yeah,
the 5-star. Then we've got another massive show just in a couple weeks. It's just at a point I know where my limits are. I don't want to burn myself out, especially because I'm so excited for Stardom right now. I don't want to go into the Osaka Joe show exhausted from wrestling.
Well, the good thing about the G1 currently is, because a lot of it is, if you're cold on the product, I think you'll be okay not watching most of it, which is bad for New Japan because they can't fucking sell tickets.
Yeah, as we've seen with Stardom outselling them.
Yeah, they can't sell tickets in Dallas. New Japan is in a state of despair, to say the least. Even though their wrestling is still kind of top notch in the industry, which is a shame. It's a shame. Okay, I guess next drop, and I have Dragongate. Come to me, Yamato. Dangerous Gate 2021. Not a lot of thoughts on this show.
Oh, I was about to say, hey, so I don't know if about you, but I feel very mild on this one.
This is tough to say. It's almost as if the undercard is more interesting than the main event in Dragongate currently.
Yeah, so I watched this entire show, and
you watched the whole thing.
I did.
Shit.
And it should say a lot that not a lot of it left an impression on me, because that's not normally what happens when I watch Dragongate. Usually something leaves an impression on me. But the only things that stuck in my mind was, man, they didn't waste any time putting Skywalker down the card. Ooh. It felt like it drops that belt. I thought they were going to gradually put him on the card, because like, yeah, he's a big star for them. Nah, immediately he's in a bottom mid-card feud. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's your typical
That was
Dragon Gate
fast.
down cycle. Yeah, they did the same
Way
thing with
too
Ben
quick.
K. I know
way
it's
too
very
quick.
it's very jarring, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's so jarring that it makes me like it's like whiplash. Like what? This guy's in a nothing feud with a nothing guy over a mask, and what the fuck is this?
Well-
He's getting DQ losses, and
Well, no.
it's so bad. I don't like it.
It's very jarring. It's something to get used to. It still takes me by surprise, even after all these years. But I will give them credit. Diamante is one of the most improved guys over the last couple of years. Like, okay, I've said this before. This dude was like basically bad when he stepped into Dragon Gate a couple of years ago. Like
But he's like super mid.
Yeah, there was like a group of them. It was him, Sakamoto. Few of the rookies hadn't quite hit their stride yet. The list goes like Eita was the top heel in the company, and you weren't kind of feeling it. It was pretty rough, and we've gotten here 2 years later where Diamante is such a good base, and Lucha Libre kind of mixes in perfect with the Dragon Gate style that he comes in here against Skywalker at Dangerous Gate, submits this dude in like 11 minutes with like a knee bar, and he comes off as super credible. To me, I thought this was setting him up immediately to be the next Dreamgate challenger. And while that may be true, it really feels like it's going to be BB Hulk.
Sorry, I
felt the
didn't
same
like the
way, Kay.
match. I did not. I did not like the match.
Well,
I
no,
felt
the
like it
match wasn't great.
Not.
The match wasn't
It's not
great. But
good.
it wasn't. It almost like wasn't meant to be, which is strange. Dragon
Yeah,
Gate's all
but I
about the
just saw
story.
Yeah, but the story in this one I didn't really care either. But that's a whole thing in general.
No, that's fair.
The tag title match, I didn't like the tag title match.
Little too comedic.
Yeah, it was like the semi-main. I'm like, this is way too much comedy. Like, I expect this in DDT. I don't expect this in Dragon Gate. I didn't care for it.
If we were on
he
like
was-
a house, if we were on like KBS Hall or maybe building to a big Korakuen or something, I'd be okay with the comedy stuff because then you're playing to the crowd more. But at a major pay-per-view that is Dangerous Gate, I'm like just not
It was
feeling
the
it.
semi-main. It was the semi-main. I'm like, it took me completely out of the show. Like, I was already kind of like on the fence for the most of it, but this ripped me completely out of the show. I was rolling my eyes at several spots. The commentary was funny. Ho Ho Loon's the only thing that was keeping me anywhere laughing or engaged in any part of this match.
Oh my
I felt
God.
like everyone came off as a geek and a dork, and no one felt credible. At the end of this, it felt like it did more damage to everyone going out of it than it did coming in.
Yeah, and you were burned out by the way the mid card went on the show.
Yeah, and the match was too long too. It was too long for a comedy match. It's like, Jesus, I kept
How
looking
long-
at my time.
how
At the
long was
time,
it?
I was like, "This is."
I like my timestamps. Hold on. Let me.
It felt like it was at least 20 minutes, and I was just like, I was not feeling it.
I don't have it written down, but cage matches a click away. Here we go.
Yeah,
The tag title Twin Gate match it only went 15.
it felt like it was so much longer. I felt like 20 minutes. I was not having any fun with it. And then the main event.
Well, hold that thought.
So-
We'll get to the main event in a second.
All right.
So the Triangle Gate match, I thought was the second best match. Well, third best match on the show. And that went 12. It was RED, Eita, Hyo, and Ishida defeating Masquerade, new champions. So Daya, Lee, and Estrella lost. First of all, there was a comment in this match, Kay, from Ho Ho Loon.
Oh, yes. Please share this with everybody. It was a fantastic comment.
So J Church says Hyo is really good at using his low center of gravity. And there's a pause. And Ho Ho goes, "'Cause he's short."
I lost it when he did that. I fell off the couch. I was laughing so hard. I was like, it was the pause. It's like, it's short. I was like, oh my fucking God, Ho-Ho's great.
I've been there when you say something in a foreign language, it takes like a second or two. Then it like translates properly in your head. Now you got the context. You go, I got it.
And it was like
I've been there.
The pause was the perfect length. And then he laughs. And then he says he's short. And you can just hear J Church trying not to corpse.
Oh, yeah.
You could hear him trying to stifle the laughter because it was just so fucking hilarious.
This fucking yeah. There was quips throughout the show with that. So Jay Church and Ho Ho, still my favorite comedy duo in wrestling.
Oh yeah, the best comedy duo in wrestling. Get your JR and Excalibur all them out here. This is the comedy duo right here.
Excalibur and Taz on Dark is fucking phenomenal. I love that too.
Yeah, but I think Ho Ho beats both of them. Ho Ho himself is a special person.
I know you didn't see this, but there was an outtake on Dark, or not outtake because it was in, but so Excalibur is handed a sheet to plug, and there's like a million things on it. So he starts going off. He's like, this Wednesday or next Wednesday on Dynamite, blah 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 blah, and he gets like halfway through, and then he just goes, and that's a lot more stuff I'm not gonna say. And then he just says like the last thing on the list, and he's finished. And you just hear Taz go, ha! He just has this big laugh.
Oh, listen, I have grown more and more to like Taz's commentary. It could be the New Yorker in me, like in the clips he has, and the fucking the good old New York bullshit accent talk. And
CM Punk, keep your dirty words, keep us out of your mouth. He's like, I didn't say anything. Send Hook. I don't care. Yeah. Anyways, we're getting off topic.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like this. I like the Dragongate match as well. But God, it just. As good as the match was, it didn't leave an impression. And
well, I mean, 12 minutes.
A lot of this show is that way. A lot of it just felt like it was, like I said, it's mild.
Well, going into it, everything was ice cold.
Yeah, it feels like this company isn't at TJPW levels of just not doing shit, but it feels like they're so so low key at this point, so not treading water, but like they're not going at mock speed. They're going like a snail's pace to the point where it's almost like I almost lose interest quickly.
Yeah, I'm tired of them spinning their wheels. It's very frustrating. So I mean, all it means to me is I'm still going to come in for the big shows, but as for kind of their build-up shows, if they're not going to do anything, then there's no sense in watching them, which is a shame.
Probably the best way to do it. Yeah.
No, I learned the way to watch Dragongate a little while ago, and unfortunately, like, this is where we're at with this company. Now, what was the second best match on the show is the debut of the Ihashi brothers, Ishin and Riki Ihashi. 9 minutes against Yasushi Kanda, Don Fuji. They're put directly in the mid-card, not some fucking stupid opener getting squashed by a 50,000-year veteran.
Like some companies?
Like many companies, in Japan. These are the sons of one LLPW's Hozumi, whom you can listen to me cover her wrestling career over on the LLPW Patreon reviews, Red Leaf Retrocast. This debut was fucking fantastic. They are mega stars in the making. And the feel from the Japanese fans is the exact same way. And this is just another example of the Dragongate system coming through. They've debuted like 11 rookies in the last 3 years that have all panned out. That's
great.
It's crazy.
That's really good.
Yeah, they are able to have half the roster now turn over, because it was a concern there for a little bit where a lot of their stars are aging out. Your Naruki Doi's, Yoshino, who just retired, BB Hulk and company. Like, these guys aren't getting any younger. And now we have just this entire, 2-3 generations of replacement guys that are all working out. There is no better self-trained system out there, and the fact they came in here, Ricky, I think, I hope I have the brothers not switched here. It's been a couple weeks since the show, but Ricky Hashi is like a swimmer, and Ishin is a nurse. Like those are their backgrounds. They have college degrees, and then they became wrestlers. That was the deal.
I feel like the one that's a nurse, the women are gonna love that dude.
Yeah, I think he was a nurse, and Ricky was a swimmer that was also part of the self-defense force.
Oh, so he's gonna get the fucking the old married ladies who want the young soldier, strapping young soldier man.
I mean, good for the Dragongate audience. But yeah, this match was great. Like, Don Fuji was this dick veteran. They got just crazy amount of offense in against the two vets here. You bought into the near falls, you bought into the submissions. The crowd was into it. They were into this match more than any other match on the show up until the
main
Dream
event.
Gate.
I think they were into this more than the main event. At least it felt like it.
I mean, at least for the first half of the main event, this tag was great. But yeah, this is a high recommendation. These guys are to be paid attention to.
Definitely. I think, God, I can't think of any other company, at least not with 11 rookies that panned out, but I can't think of any other company that's had that. Ice Ribbon? Because, I mean, Stardom hasn't had that with their rookie system.
Yeah, but they haven't pumped out 11 people in 3 years, have they?
No. They don't pump rookies out that quickly. I don't think any company pumps out rookies that quickly, men or women. But I can't think of any company that does that. Like, I wouldn't even count Stardom, at least not yet, because the only rookie they've had that's panned out is, Utami. And he's still kind of on the way up in Waka's Waka.
I don't agree with that, because, anyways.
Who else do they have? It's rookie that's debuted from their dojo recently.
Well, Kamatani, she's panned out very well, Kay.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! I always forget
that she's that.
I continue to forget that she still has she's been so short in her career because she's just so goddamn good.
God damn it!
I keep forgetting that she's like not even like she's like 2 years in. I keep forgetting that 'cause she's so good.
So, despite being a cold build and convoluted, Yamato and Kota Minoura had a hell of a match. It's I have it as a top 10 Dragon Gate match of the year. I think the biggest thing that'll throw people off is we're coming off the Ben-K run, the Shun Skywalker run, where it was this new Dragon Gate style that really made it a fresh main event feel. And now with Yamato back in, it's that older Dragon Gate style back in the main event. So you gotta, to the mat for a little bit, working a body part, and then to a hot finish. So I could totally see, if you came into the new generation of Dragon Gate here, like yourself, Kay, that this match would have come across as boring at times.
Yeah, so I think I described it to you that this coming off of the Shun Skywalker run and his good matches, right? I feel like this felt like a very mid-tier on that one. It felt like the Sakamoto match almost. I put it in the same tier. And then I feel like if this is his first defense, I feel like I should start lowering the expectation I have for what these main events are going to be now. So this is the bar. I have to lower it.
I still gave this match like 3 out of 3 recommendation. Like, without question, because I adored this match. I think I would have. I think I would have adored it even more if the build was better, for sure. Because they definitely messed it up. We waited 2 months for this defense. Just ridiculous how we got here. It's unacceptable, and it really doesn't make me excited for the prospect of this Yamato run now. Because coming out of
that was weird for me too.
Yeah, coming out of Kobe World. We were optimistic because Yamato's been built up all year. He felt hot. The win felt right. And we're like, okay, he looks like he's with Kota Minoura being positioned as the first challenger. Looks like Yamato's going to be the ace here to get a lot of these young guys their first Dreamgate title matches. Like that kind of story. And I mean, technically we're there. But everything points to this. After 2 months and no builds and spinning wheels and no direction feeling outside of BB Hulk being the next guy, that's really what it feels like. And look, I like BB Hulk. He's not Dreamgate guy anymore.
No, and I like BB Hulk as well. So I think that how I would describe this match coming out of the like you said, the Kobe World stuff, I feel like we were like in a Corvette spinning down the tracks, right? And this match feels like I'm in a goddamn minivan. Just felt that much of that much of a difference to me.
It's tough. It's tough going back to that style. Yeah.
I almost feel like I don't care because it was such a drastic change in sort of tone and sort of speed, and the match itself did not I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get into this match at all. It was too slow for too long in the beginning to where it lost me. It happens sometimes. I don't like when a match is too slow for a long period of time. It doesn't matter if it picks back up. You've lost me.
It's funny you mentioned.
It's hard to get me back in.
It's funny you mentioned Kazuma Sakamoto tier. That's the match I put it right next to on the list of Dragongate matches. It's right next to it, which is fine because I like that match too a lot, and I like this match a lot. It's just, yeah, I mean, no sense in dwelling on it anymore. Not excited for the prospect of this Yamato run now, which is a shame coming 2 months later, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. This is a real shame.
Yeah, I'm not excited. Count me in the very underwhelmed category.
All right, time to move on to DDT, which is going to be even shorter. All right, DDT, who's going to top? Akiyama teamed with Yoshihiko. Good comedy match. I had fun.
I did not watch it. I didn't have time.
The rest of the card, K, is a waste of time. There's my review for that.
It sounds like that's the case. So the only thing I caught into was when I was trying to skip through the overly long video to get to the Chris Brooks Takeshita match. I caught like the tail end of Damnation's whatever the fuck finish thing, and I just rolled my eyes at it and moved on.
Yeah, Damnation is officially split, and they just did a match. So.
Yeah. Also, I like how they tweeted out, "This is your last chance to buy merch." I'm like, yeah, no, you guys are dumb for this, by the way.
Yeah. I wonder if they got the. Hold on. I want to check what they were able to draw for this show.
They even posted their numbers.
Let's see here. 713. So it seems like it's a sold out Korkin. So at least they got that. Fair enough.
I guess.
Okay.
I guess. The main event was the only thing I think worth talking about, and I thought the match itself ruled. And I didn't watch any of the build, really, I don't think, outside of what the one match.
I mean, you saw the post-match challenge at Peter Pan.
Did.
I watched kind of their interactions on a fast-forward mode in a bit. Kind of knew what I was getting. First defense, I didn't expect Chris Brooks to win. But goddamn it, they really wanted me to believe he would win, and I think they accomplished that. This, I agree. This ruled. I like this more. Oh, okay. It's tough. It's very tough.
All right.
I still think the Yamato Minoura match was better, but this had more. This had definitely more emotion. So. There was a pre-match video, and DDT is very good at this, where it's essentially interviewing Chris Brooks on his journey in DDT. He's sitting in Ichigaya Chocolate Square. He's just sitting down on the mat. He's in that room, and he's talking about DDT taking a chance on him. This just kind of nobody English guy who's tall. How Emi Sakura essentially took him under her wing, how she's been a mentor, even Masa, also part of that group, and in DDT, how they kind of trained him up a little bit, and you could definitely see his styles improved. You saw even references in the match itself, pulling out Emi Sakura's kind of trademark moves and Masa's move, which was really cool to see.
I picked up on the Emi Sakura moves. I immediately popped for when he was going for her driver thing. Her
little
driver.
Yeah, the turnbuckle driver.
Cool. Yeah, I was like, oh, he's doing it. Great. I popped for that.
Yeah, he's talking about how living in Japan and Tokyo is almost a surreal moment. It means so much to him. Like, he just came across as the greatest guy. Like, I just fell in love with Chris Brooks even more. And I couldn't wait to see his match for it. It shows him like walking the streets, hanging out with Shun and Takeshita and all these guys. just looks like the happiest guy to be there. And this match is the biggest one of his career. It felt like that too. And here comes Takeshita coming off the big win. They didn't have the focus on him. They focused on the challenger to get you, the audience, to believe in this man. It was handled so well.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of... So, in my head, from what I've gotten from Takeshita, he's DDT's Miyu Yamashita, it feels like. He's like the ace guy. He has the ace gimmick, the ace face, ace entrance, right? It's kind of funny the difference in how they build the person up. They didn't focus on him. No, you don't need to know about him. You already know about this man. We need to focus on the challenger to get you invested in him. So when he doesn't win, you're invested in his journey and everything, right? Boy, they sure didn't do that with Yamashita.
No, it kind of came out of nowhere. Very opposite. Takeshita had the year-and-a-half long story of getting back to the top, which is great. I got no problem with another run from Takeshita, especially if we get more stuff like this.
Yeah. When it's built up, I have no issues with it.
The match went almost 30 minutes. It wasn't epic. It was two bros going at it, Kay, and it sure felt like it. I adored this.
Two dudes kneeing each other in the face.
There was a lot of V-triggers, Kay.
Oh, yeah. They can hit that V-trigger. Boy, they spammed the fuck out of that. I loved it. Dude, I ate this up. It was great. There was that one really big V-trigger on the outside that just fucking floored Takeshita. I was like, killed the man. I loved it.
Yeah, I really like the transitions between their important moves and spots, especially the German suplex on the outside. That was coming off the apron as well.
Yeah, that was great.
Very good sense of drama. Chris Brooks trying to lock in some submissions it eventually leads into Takeshita locking in his own submission, the same one he developed and built up specifically for Akiyama. And that's going to be kind of his new thing. And there was no keeping Brooks down. So he kind of had... He kneed him so much and beat the shit out of him, and Brooks kicked out of his finishers and finally locks in the submission, and it's ref stoppage. Or no, he tapped. And it's almost like he kind of...
I kind of wish it was ref stoppage. That's kind of where my brain was.
It kind of means the same, but it was like Takeshita had to... It felt like he had to put him in the submission because Brooks wasn't going to stay down. So I liked the finish, and the post-match promo was phenomenal. Takeshita gets the mic. That last V-trigger, by the way, busted Brooks's nose open.
It was a great visual.
Like, holy shit. He kicked out of that, is bleeding, and then, the submission. So yeah, really, really locked it in. So Takeshita grabs the mic, and and this is all built off kind of that pre-match video package with Brooks. And Takeshita goes, Brooks, you say... And it's in broken English, so I mean no offense, just kind of trying to repeat what he said exactly. Because you say you have no friends, but you look at DDT audience, DDT members. That's not true. We all love you, Brooks. We support. You are my best friend. And you see Brooks's eyes water up and he's holding back tears. It's like, oh God, the feels.
I think the words were DDT. DDT is your friend.
Yes.
I liked it too. It was very much, he's like, DDT is your friend. I am your best friend. I was like, so I don't know if you caught this, Shady, but Choco Pro, the members of good old Choco Pro, they did videos telling Chris Brooks he needs to win.
I saw that, yeah. And they were there in the audience.
All of them were. It was great. I think the combination of that and this this man, if he's not signed, you say he's signed, but I don't think they've ever said anything officially. But either way, this man needs to stay in Japan. Fuck England. England sucks anyways. It's on fire. Who cares? They have terrible opinions over there. Just fucking stay in Japan. You are awesome here. Everyone loves you. It is appreciated in Japan. I doubt you'll be appreciated in the UK. Those snobby-nosed bastards.
So despite us in the last podcast episode being kind of frustrated with how cold the rest of the cards are, the builds for New Japan, DDT, and Dragongate, the main events are still delivering. At least in a match vacuum.
Right, and I feel like at least Dragongate is delivering for now. My hopes for that one aren't as high.
Yeah, and they announced the Dio tournament, so DDT's version of their little G1. They got some blocks. It's it's DDT, so it's a lot smaller, easy to keep up with. Let's see what they do this year. See what story they want to tell. Last year was Akiyama beating Takeshita. Curious what they do this year. 2 years ago it was Masato Tanaka. That led to a good run. That led to putting over Endo. So they're in the last 2 years they got a good hit rate on what they've done coming out of the Dio tournament.
Misaki-sama, she'll win.
Saki Akai. I wish she'd be in it one of these years. I think that'd be really cool. But
It'd be interesting, but I mean, I know one way I kind of get why they don't do it.
yeah. All right. Time to. Oh, well. Is there any question it's Shuri?
Oh, fucking without a shadow of a doubt.
Let's get our Joshi on, buddy. We're making good time here. Making good time.
So do you want to get everything else out of the way before we go into the deep dive, the deep, dark dive of Stardom? That chasm is pretty deep.
Well, I mean, I guess we could bring up Jungle Kiona has officially withdrawn from Stardom. I think
She hasn't retired. She's not specified she's retired. She's withdrawn from Stardom. I think she's retired. I don't think she's going anywhere.
I think she's retired too. It's a gut feeling. The way the roster has reacted to her, the way Rossi kind of worded his phrase to the goodbye, it really seems like due to her injuries and especially the mental aspect of everything that's happened, really feels to me that she's done with wrestling. And I really don't see her continuing in another company. It just seems weird.
Yeah, so she specified she's not out of the wrestling business. Oh, she'll still be us wrestling. So to me, that didn't translate as, oh, she's going to go back to wrestling. No. To me, that translates she's going to transition into a different role.
Yeah, like maybe a trainer
Stardom
or something.
Yeah, so maybe she left Stardom now, but maybe when she's ready, she's going to come back and maybe she'll be a backstage person, a coach, something back there, or she'll work somewhere else. I don't see her leaving the Stardom family. She even said in her thing that she values Stardom above all else. She seems like somebody who loves the company and doesn't want to wrestle anywhere else. I think a lot of this, and I think I even, I don't know if I ever said it here on the podcast, but I know I talked with you that I didn't think she was ever coming back.
Yeah, we never got that feeling she was coming back.
And if she did, I always made the comment that if she did, it wasn't going to be for very long. I felt like one, the damage done to her, all the injuries and stuff that she had to accumulate, I feel like that has to affect your in-ring ability. And she always struck me as somebody who was very proud of her in-ring abilities. And so I felt like if she couldn't go to 100%, I don't think she'd want to go. Kind of always struck to me. If she couldn't be 100% Jungle Kiona, then she wasn't going to be Kiona at all. Combine that with her best friend Hana Kimura passing away. And it felt like that Hana Memorial show was a very big cathartic moment for her. I think that's kind of what she needed. Right. And I think maybe, and this is me just speculating, I think after that, I think she maybe decided then, you know what, maybe I don't need to come back. And I think it's like Steve Husky, that show sparked a lot of things came out of that show. It feels like a lot of good things and some sad things with Kiona, but I feel like it's kind of good that she's not back now in a weird way. Not because I don't think she's useful, not because I don't think would she be weighing anybody down or anything, but I feel like for her own mental capacity, her own mental health, because you can't just walk away from that after a year. Even she'd probably still be affected by it and everything, and then her in-ring abilities. And I feel like given the schedule that they have and everything now, I feel like it's probably a good time for her to transition out. I feel like it's probably the best thing for her, even if maybe it was hard for her to make that choice.
Well, it's wrestling, so for all we know, it's just a sabbatical, and she'll be back in 12 to 18 months.
I don't see her coming back to like in-ring performance.
I don't get that feeling, but it's always there in the back of your head, and it's wrestling, so it's a possibility.
Right. So, do you want to move on to Ice Ribbon or TJPW? Because I have 2 bits for both.
Well, I mean, we got the fucking 5-star to talk about, you scrub.
Yeah. Yeah, but we want to get the small stuff out the way, don't you? First,
Well,
before
no,
we
let's
go
just
into
go
the
in.
deep dark.
No. We'll go in order. We got an order.
Okay.
We got our order.
Yeah, of course we got an order.
We got our order. Okay. So instead of going show by show and match by match, because last we left off, there was some smaller shows left over. We kind of got a feeling over. Well, we agreed that Shuri was kind of slotted to win because Julia just pulled out of the tournament.
Julia was ever going to win anyways, but yeah.
Right. We had a feeling that she was never going to win in the first place, so why not? Various sources kind of leaked that she was supposed to win. Not totally buying that. I'm not really smelling the smoke to the fire, but regardless, Shuri was, to me, Kay, the right decision. Do you agree with this?
100%. I think at the incorrect. I think it's very incorrect that it was going to be Julia. But if they went with Julia, it wouldn't have felt right at all.
No, not at this point. It would not have felt right.
I think everything with Shuri and Utami. This is the hottest program they have in the company right now. This is the Okada Omega right here. Hey, you can't just not do it. And then I can't remember if the Utami Shuri match happened before or after Julia's withdrawal, but I think after that promo, oh no, Shuri's 100% winning this.
After.
Nobody else.
That happened.
It happened after?
Yeah.
Okay. It just felt like no. This is going to be the outcome. This was always going to be the outcome.
Well, on the last podcast episode, we had just a fun conversation of, if not Shuri, then what and who? And if you want to speculate that Julia was meant to win, okay, I did propose the question, could you still go to Shuri after the winner of the 5-star lost to Utami? And it almost feels like, especially with the Aroha situation, that really made me cock my eyebrow and go, I could kind of buy that now. Julia wins the 5-star, loses to Utami, and then right after that, Shuri's the next challenger for Sumo Hall. Like, that does make sense.
So I don't see it that way, I think they're trying to slowly get the fan base used to the winner of the 5-star getting this match at the end of the year. I think they're doing storyline reasons to delay it before they make it an official thing. Kind of like they did with the get rid of the portrait thing where people go and get autographs. Because of coronavirus, we're temporarily sealed it off. To now they're just not going to do it anymore.
Funny you mentioned that.
I think they're trying to get fans used to that. And because they did it with Utami last year. Utami didn't get the match the next month after. She got it in November.
They're really doing a lot of different marketing strategies and training the audience that this is a major league company. We are going to be perceived as a major league company, and these are not the Princess Cup. Jesus, Cinderella is going to be multiple days. It's no longer this one-day tournament. Makes sense to me.
I like it that way.
Your big tournament winner is going to have a contract or some tangible item that they can build up a major show over multiple months. Makes sense to me. For a big pay-per-view, big-time title match. And in between the shows, you can kind of build stories and tie up loose ends, such as the Shuri Konami match that they have, where the contract's on the line and her SWA title. I'm like, yeah, cool, makes sense to me. Like these are what major league companies do. Rather than just, here's a card, we're going to have some random tags on house shows, and we're going to have like a Shinjuku face show where they face each other. Like, major league companies don't do that.
No. And also, so there's a point that I want to make to why I think Julia was never on the table anyways, even with the Shuri thing, right? I don't think Julia loses that Utami match. I think no matter what, when they do that match, Julia's the victor. Julia's going to be the one coming out there.
I don't think I agree with that.
I think it's going to be what they're going to do. I think what they're going to do, they're going to have Julia win the belt.
I think now, okay, so does Shuri, I think we're in agreement, Utami beats Aroha, or they go to some stupid draw?
Oh, no, she beats Aroha. There's not going to a draw. She's beating Aroha.
She better beat Aroha.
Damn well better. You're right. Yeah, no. I get what you're about to ask. Do we think Shuri's going to win? And I'm still like I'm a little more unsure now, but I'm still kind of leaning in regards to probably not.
Oh.
Still, I still feel like the biggest match this company could put on is Tommy and Julia, and I still am dead set that they're going to put that on sometime next year, and that Julia is going to win the belt. I say this because I don't think Julia is the long-term star for them. Right now she's the current star, right?
Hmm.
I get the feeling that Utami's the one that's going to be their long-term star. In a way, it's not a good 1-for-1, right? In terms of like rear length and whatnot. But I feel like Julia comes off as the Tanahashi to Utami's Okada. It feels like they're using Julia as the big star currently. I don't think even Julia is going to be wrestling that long, because I think she's even said as such that she doesn't see herself wrestling longer than 3 years.
Interesting.
So when you add that in, and remember, she isn't the only person to ever make that comment. And usually when that comment's made, the wrestler tends to make good on it. Kagetsu did. The fucking Tequila Saya did. Like whenever they say, I'm going to wrestle this amount of time, it seems to me that they already have it in their brain when they're going to stop, and they're already prepared mentally for it. Now, could that change, right? Sure. I think Maya said a similar thing, but I don't fucking think Maya's retiring. Tam has said same thing, and I think Tam will retire in that time frame. But Julia has said 3 years. At least I remember reading some of this. She had said she wanted to wrestle 3 more years. So to me, Utami's a lot younger. She's definitely their bigger star, a bigger like up and coming star, the one you're going to build your company around. So it's like, no, Julia's the star now, but Utami's is going to be their star, their ace, their big dude, their big one. And so I think what you do is you have Julia beat her for the belt, and then you have Utami at some point, Julia, not for the belt, but beat Julia on her way to getting the belt again. That's why you use Julia to set up Utami in a long-term story with Utami, put Utami over, and at the same time you have Julia put somebody else over with the belt so that Utami can beat whoever or face whoever has the belt at that point. I have several stories that I feel like that could be, and that's way long down. That's like 2-3 years up down the road, but that's kind of where I think things are going. That's why I don't think you drew that match without Julia coming out with the victory.
I'd rather look at this in a shorter term. You are leaning towards Shuri loses. I am leaning on the side that she wins. And I'm thinking and she just has so much momentum. It feels right. Utami's had this title. Like when we've spoken about this before, when you have a champion, you want them to kind of have that title until it feels like the challenger, it's the right time for the challenger to win. And coming out of the 5-star, it feels to me that it's time for Utami to drop the belt and Shuri wins this thing at year end. It just makes sense to me. Is it the end of the world if Shuri loses? No, I don't think so. I think she's a made woman coming out of the 5-star. She's a Wrestler of the Year candidate with what she's been able to do since, I guess, May. That would be the timestamp there for sure. I get what you're saying with Utami Julia. I agree that's the biggest match that they can put on that's left. But this 5th encounter over the last, I guess it's 2 years at that point, with Utami Shuri is very fitting for Sumo Hall. By the way, knock Sumo Hall off the list. All that's left is the Tokyo Dome. AK?
I fucking called it. Look at me making big K predictions. I was like, I just need Sumo Hall and the Tokyo Dome. Listen, they're doing Tokyo Dome next year.
Next year? Well,
next year. I think they could do it. I think there's an easy way they can work around and getting it done. They have the New Japan connection there, so they wouldn't have to worry about spending too much money on Tokyo Dome.
I'd like to see some attendance figures continue to rise first. See how much they can conceivably draw. More than 1,500, which is what they got at Oda Ward here. Which, by the way, from a business perspective, super interesting. For emergency restrictions have been lifted. What these other companies are going to be able to do going forward in comparison to Red Hot Stardom. Dragongate sold it out too, just a smaller seated capacity. Needless to say, Stardom still outsold them.
Of course they did. I'll say this. I think they'll make the Tokyo Dome year end next year. I think they'll try to tie it in with the big Tokyo Dome, the Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, they'll make it like the day before or the weekend before or something like that to kind of tie them both in. I could definitely see them doing that. I think even if they don't make all their money back on the Dome, the first run of it, I think it'll be a huge success regardless. As long as they don't lose a whole fuck ton of money, which I don't see them doing.
Well,
there's ways you could do this where they could have New Japan tickets also double as Stardom tickets, and there's ways you could work around doing it. I think they'll do it next year.
The thing that's clearly working is running all these major arenas has definitely given a public perception that Stardom is major league and they are a big fucking deal and people are buying into it.
You know what? I'll give you this. If Shuri does win, like I said, I'm still unsure. I don't think she's gonna have a long run. I think that they're due for a shorter term run now. We've had 2 long back-to-back runs with Mayu and Utami. I think they tend to like have a shorter run in between that. Typically.
Yeah, I had a similar thought in my head, like a 2-3 months thing. She gets kind of your.
Other than that, I think she gets it like maybe. Oh yeah, I think it's 3 months, and then she drops it to Julia, and then you do the Julia Utami match at the Dome if you're gonna run the Dome.
Yeah, or they can run Budokan again. They could do that.
Oh, but if they're like my brain process is they're going to run the Dome, and so I think that's what you're gonna do that match. And I think
but if they're not, Budokan's a great place to do that match.
All right. But I think you could do Budokan and have that be where Julia wins the belt.
Sure.
She lost it the year before. She comes in this year and she wins it in Budokan.
Cool.
I could see them doing that.
So we're in agreement. Shuri was the right decision. Best 5-star of all time.
I think easy.
Yeah, I think
I think that's even a question anymore. I think this is the best, not just the star power feeling in terms of the venues they ran, but just top to bottom star power wrestling wise. Like, first off, before we get into talking about some of the matches, who predicted this one correctly from the opening jump?
You
when
did.
The blocks were announced, I sure fucking did, didn't I?
You did.
When they announced the blocks, I was like, it's gonna be Momo Shuri, and that's what it was, and I thought that was fucking awesome. I think.
Yeah, I predicted Shuri Starlight Kid, but I was close. I was in the ballpark.
You were close, but there was Mayu there, and
yeah,
I always feel like
that bitch from Stars really took my dream away.
I always felt like Mayu was going to be playing spoiler. There's no way that
yeah,
wasn't happening.
I kind of telegraphed that a mile away. That last day, boy, did I call that. Like, every single match that was going to happen, just like, they're going to play spoiler, and it's all going to be set up all the way to the Shuri Iroha draw, where Shuri gets to the finals off the draw. I was made on that day.
You were dead on. I thought she was going to beat Iroha. She didn't, but I thought she was going to. I thought she could at least do it, but as we've seen, Takumi Iroha, her booking.
It's very obnoxious, like I said.
Frustrating.
So coming out of the 5-star final, Shuri, we've mentioned she's challenging for Sumo Hall. She wants a couple months made. She wants to go into 2022 as champion. Year of Vermilion. I like that name, by the way. And Iroha makes this extremely awkward jump into the ring holding Utami's hand. I know what they're doing. It's fine.
She was holding Mayu's hand. She should have held Utami's hand at the press conference, which they're both in suits.
No, they came into the ring, holding each other's hand, Utami and Iroha.
Oh, it was Mayu, because Mayu came into the ring.
No, rewatch it.
Pretty sure it was Mayu.
No, Mayu came later.
Why am I? Okay,
because Tam came out and said, "I challenge Mayu."
Okay, yeah, right. I'm misremembering.
God, all right.
Either way, it was super awkward. I rolled my eyes at it.
Yeah, I rolled my eyes hard. She goes, "I don't know what I'm doing here. This is weird." And she goes, "Okay, I challenge Utami at Osaka Joe." And I went, "Of course she does." So this is my problem.
Like a Hulk Hogan putting himself over kind of moment.
This is my problem.
What came off to me.
If Iroha is going to be a more frequent fixture in Stardom, along with various Marvelous members, and we can get rid of this protection outsider booking that has plagued the scene for a decade plus, I'm fine with it. However, how we've gotten here, I have an issue with, because if this was the audible or the plan all along, whatever way you want to spin it, she should have just beaten Utami, didn't do that stupid draw, and she should have straight up lost to Shuri, and everything would have made sense, and everyone would have come off as more credible.
I agree. I'll say this. If that match goes to a draw, the Utami Roja title match, that'll probably be the first time that Stardom's done a draw where I'll actively be upset.
Yeah, they've only done one.
I'll get why.
They've only done
but
one main event draw on a major show this year.
It needs to stay that way. It needs to stay that way. Just stay that way. That needs to be the only one that's done because that one was so good and plays into so much other shit. Oroha would just feel like, well, can't pin her. That's what I'll feel like. And I'll be very mad. I'll be mad at Rossi because not shit Rossi could do about that, right? But I will be pissed. And I will, if that happens, get Oroha out of Stardom. Just fucking boot her.
It's
I don't want to see
protection
her there
booking.
anymore.
And
I want to see her there. If she can't take the pin to the champion, then I don't want to see her in Stardom anymore. Get out. Leave. Please. I don't like that booking, and that booking like you said, plagues the scene. It doesn't need to be plaguing Stardom.
No,
get Takumi's protege of Shikusa and all that shit. But listen, your company is small time. You should be even thankful that you're even on these cards. I view it because you wouldn't be on this opportunity if you weren't given it by Rossi in Stardom. No,
it's a favor for Nagayo-san.
Exactly. If that weren't the case, you wouldn't be here. You need to at least be humble and do the job to the champion. At least you could fucking do.
Well, that last day, regardless, 5-star final day, phenomenal show.
Oh, yeah, dude, the main event, Momo Shuri.
Banger, banger. I loved, prior to the main event, the backstage interview with Yuzupon to Momo and Shuri. Came across
so awesome.
More of that. That is fantastic. That is, I keep bringing it up. It's Major League. Everything makes it feel bigger, makes it feel like it's the biggest match in the world. Momo comes out, the fucking falling pyro with the giant flag, superstar. Shuri comes out, she's got the moon, superstar. Like, these entrances, they got them all down. And
I think this is the first time Momo has come off like a megastar. Like, this is where you see, this is what Rossi sees in her. This is where she's the megastar. I think the presentation is top notch. I like the small touches in the interviews that they did, where you see Shuri, and Shuri is she's kind of resting. She's clearly still exhausted from her match. Mm-hmm. And then you go to Momo, and Momo is stretching because she hasn't wrestled since the opening match, so she's trying to keep herself warmed up, right? So she's stretching and kind of getting warmed up as she's getting this. I love the contrast.
So I'm looking up. Okay. Bear with me here. I'm getting my stats up that I pulled today.
Ooh.
So these are the 5-star stats. And I got curious. I didn't go to Cage Match. I actually went to Grapple. And if you're not familiar with Grapple, it is a wrestling app which has a lot of the companies, and you can just, 0 to 5 stars, rate a match. Very simple. There's no, trolling reviews, or at least there's less of them. For that purpose. Okay? And I just realized I forgot to put on one match, so I'll have to add that into... I even forgot a name.
Look at you. You had all these stuff prepared. You didn't even finish preparing it. Ugh.
Well, no, I just made a mistake, and I caught my mistake.
A terrible chef. You had the pasta done, but you forgot the garlic.
Okay, got it. All right, we're good.
All right.
There's 19 matches. I took all the matches on Grapple that got above a 3.7. And I picked that number because that's in between that 3.5, 4-star match area, which is like a 3 out of... To me, I was like 3 out of 3 recommendation matches. Okay?
All right.
If you look at the 2020 5-star on Grapple, not as many. Let's just put it that way. Not even close. So this year had 19 matches above 3.7. You care to guess who were the top 3 performers in the 5-star based on how many matches they had in the top 19?
Shuri.
Are you guessing her
Momo.
1 or what?
Do you want me to order them?
Yeah, order your top 3. Order who
Okay,
you think are the top 3.
Shuri, Momo, Utami.
Okay. You had 2 of them. Shuri is number 1. Actually, I'm going to go backwards.
Okay.
Utami is number 3. She had 4 matches in the top 19. Tam Nakano has 5 matches in the top 19. She got second. I think that surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, because I can only think of a few of the matches that were really good to me, and not that she had a bad 5-star. I just felt like she had a very low-key 5-star for the most part.
Yeah, and when I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, Tam Saitani, that was awesome. Of course it was.
Right.
Tam Utami was sick.
I'm Shuri.
Yeah, Tam Aroha. That was like Aroha's first great match in the tournament. Tam Shuri. So yeah, they add up when you kind of like put pen to paper. It's pretty wild.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
And not even close. Far and ahead 1 is Shuri with 8.
She's the 5-star was hers.
It
like I
was
said,
every single match except Ruaka. Basically.
like I said, this was hers to win. I don't believe for 1 second it was Julia's because it wouldn't have felt right. No matter what, the cloud of how great Shuri did would have overshadowed her.
Yeah. Aroha, Momo each had 3. Saitani had 2. Maika had 2. Julia had 2. Azumi had 2. Mayu Iwatani had 2.
But Starlight Kiddo.
1
Ooh.
against
I
Mayu.
agree with that. I agree with that.
On the last
I think she had a few more than that.
No, I thought the Starlight Kid Himika match was gonna make the cut, but didn't get high enough votes. So, like I said, I only took that. It's my interpretation of like what's a 3 out of 3 recommendation match, but the highest of end matches. So the top 5 on Grapple of the 5-star were. Actually, I'll just name the ones that eclipsed 4. How about that? So that's 6. Top 6. Okay. Maika Shuri got a 4.13 on Grapple. Julia Mayu, 4.16, coming in at 5th. Both on the same day, by the way, August 1st.
Right.
Utami Tam, 4.18 at 4th. 5-star final day. Shuri Aroha, 4.25, coming in at 3rd. Same day. Momo Mayu, 4.26, July 31st, day 1. And number 1, Momo Shuri, no surprise, 4.51 on Grapple.
All right. I mean, I think I have a few of those in my top 5. I definitely don't have Julia Mayu. I don't think I was as high on that match as a lot of people seem to be, including Stardom themselves, who I think they gave that the award for best blue eye match to them, just to give something to Julia. That's kind of what it felt like to me, at least, because that definitely I don't think was the best match in blue block. I think Momo Mayu was still the best match of the block.
Of the block, yeah, I had that higher. Yeah,
I think that was far and away the best one.
I mean,
Not far and away, but I feel like it was definitely the best one. I don't think Julia Mayu was the best in that block. It wasn't a bad match. It just didn't. It felt like they were. It felt like they were kind of holding a few things back, which I get. They're probably gonna do a future match there. Makes sense. But it didn't feel like the match clicked in a way that the Momo Mayu one did.
So what was your top 5 of the tournament?
All right, so going from 5 upwards, at 5, I have Shuri versus Aroha from the 5-star final day.
Okay.
I liked it. I thought the crowd got pretty into it. It got pretty vicious towards the end there. I thought that was good.
I think that was Aroha's best match of the tournament, too.
Yeah, that's the only one of hers I actually have on my list. 4, Utami and Shuri. I feel like that match was great. I think the only thing holding it back was it's in the venue that it was in. I think it was in a bigger venue. The match would have, as you'll see with my other ones, the match probably would have popped higher. 3, Mayu Starlight Kid. I fucking ate up the storytelling. Man, I wish they had Sonny on commentary for English there, because he would have just spoon-fed the audience that shit. It was fucking great. Everything from Mayu coming in with the Starlight Kid colored masks with all the black and purples, to Starlight Kid having her secondary mask, what she puts over people's faces, having Mayu's signature wing things on the top of it, and I ate all of that up. Even Starlight Kid going for a few of Mayu's moves was kind of cool too. At 2, I have Momo and Mayu. The best Blue Star block match, and I think the best one outside of the finals, because the finals, Momo Shuri is my number 1.
Okay. All right. 5 I had was Utami Tam at 5. Utami Maika at 4. Shuri Maika at 3. Momo Mayu at 2. And Shuri Momo at 1. So...
Our 1 and 2 are the same.
Yeah. The... 3 out of the 5 were on the first 2 days, and then 1 and 5 were on the last day. So it's kind of funny. That's what I've been talking about. The 2 most important days are basically your opener and final, and well, that's how it turned out for me. There are obviously a lot of matches I loved in between there. I have to mention that there's still that Natsupoi Starlight Kid match that slipped in the middle of the tournament. That's like a top 10 match of the year for Stardom.
Oh yeah, that match was fucking ludicrously good. I mean, those two have great chemistry, period. But jeez.
Actually, I could pull up on Grapple what that match has. Hold on.
I even liked Poi and Momo. I thought that match was actually very good. They laid into each other.
So
that was also
29th.
night 1.
Let's see here. Where would that land on the... Okay, so that has a 3.94 on Grapple. So that's good. Where would that land? This is all on my phone, so forgive me.
You're not forgiven.
3.94 would throw it into the number 9 spot.
I think Poi had a very low-key good tournament, minus some comedy bullshittery and count-out finishes. I think she had kind of a pretty low-key, pretty good tournament. I think she had some pretty solid matches. She didn't have a single bad match the entire tournament, I think. That's the Koguma one. That wasn't her fault.
Yeah, you can kind of say that about everybody. So let's see. The only people that didn't have a top-ranked match, based on this list, Ruaka, Unagi, Mina, Natsupoi, and I think that's it.
I think so. They gave it awards, and I can't remember who got
TJPW
what
people
award.
And the teenager.
Right.
It's funny.
I think Mina is definitely the one. I think in the entire tournament, I think she's the most improved the entire tournament. She didn't have a single bad match. She didn't have a single outstanding, amazing match. But every match she had was 3 stars, solid. Nothing dipped below that.
Yeah, that's fine.
She put in a very good performance. I think she's low key probably the unsung kind of a hero of the tournament. Not that's probably the wrong word I'm using for it, but you know what I'm getting. She's like she's probably the one that I feel like I want to give the most props to outside of the winners and stuff. I don't know, man. She didn't have a single bad match. It's kind of baffling if you just go backwards to when she was just even over the summer, right? She was like, oh man, not doing good, and kind of flashed to now. And dude, she's like putting in the work. It's great. I love it.
Excellent tournament. Do we have anything else we'd like to hit on?
Other than it's the best tournament all year and no one's going to top it?
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite tournament of the year, without question. I had a blast watching it, I had a blast covering it. It's definitely... I know it's a product of kind of the community of the Red Leaf Retrocast and the online community that we're a part of, or at least exposed to. But the 5-star has absolutely blown every other tournament out of the water in terms of engagement and kind of what's trending. And Stardom is trending heavily upwards right now.
It's not even close. I think the second company to it is Iceberg in terms of trending over in Japan, and they're not even they're pretty far behind, both of them.
Yeah. I mean, the current state, I mean, Stardom is ahead of Dragongate, Noah, All Japan, all these companies. Like New Japan's the only one that's, and that's just because they're just astronomically larger than everyone else. So that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah. I mean, they just announced they're switching TV deals now. They're going to have a TV, they're guaranteed to be on Asahi with New Japan. And boy, that's massive. They're going to get more money that way. I think Asahi's, outside of Fuji TV, I think they're like the biggest television station over there in terms of the most eyeballs on them.
Yeah, it's very exciting to follow along the rise of Stardom. It's excellent. Okay, let's just blast through TJPW. There's nothing to really hit on, but I'll play.
No.
I'll play Shoko's music, and actually, I'll play Mizuki's music
For good reason.
Okay, this is gonna be super quick. We went into we went into a big diatribe last podcast episode how TJPW has totally botched the Wrestle Princess build. We're very frustrated as fans. Like that following weekend, they just announced the rest of the card, and it is just a card.
You're not even. You're like skipping, or not skipping. You're a little bit behind on that now. It seems like now they're in desperation mode. As you see, where there once was certain matches, they have now added people. So they went from a tag match with Palm and Raku, all right, to, hey, Ram Kai Chao and My Hero's come back from injury. That seemed odd. That seemed like something you would have announced before this point, right? When you announced the card, not a week after you announced the card. So that to me comes off as, now this is speculation, so I don't want this to be taken as like gospel, but to me, it kind of feels like maybe she wasn't entirely ready to come back. Maybe she's close enough to coming back that they feel like they can push her out, but I think their ticket sales make me feel like this is a desperation move, and getting Ram Kai Chao, she's like that kind of popular, but probably not expensive to book kind of person that they can get last second. Otherwise, you would have announced her with Venny and all the other people, not just randomly announce her. Then the big one that just dropped just a day ago, fucking White Dragono, Rika. She's all of a sudden she's fine now. She's back. So where there was a Notica versus Masao match, it's a 3-way now.
Yeah,
that to me raised an eyebrow, because one, the way things were phrased with her was that she was not coming back for a while. But on top of that, the way things have been promoted and stuff, and who had tickets available, which I'll get to in a second, Rika wasn't even on that until they announced that she was coming there, and then they announced the ticket stuff. So it's like, that's that. Oh no, they announced the ticket stuff before. Then it was like, okay, well, why is she here? Well, Marika's there. Marika's not going to be on the show. And then she's back now, but Marika's not back. And I'll get to that in a second, too, with something interesting that just came out of that recently. It's like, okay, so to me, this is, again, a big, giant grain of salt. This comes off of a rumor that's starting to pick up a little bit of traction over in the Japanese side of the fandom. But there's this rumor that somebody might be graduating, not retiring, graduating from TJPW sometime in November. And I thought together it was either Mahiro or it was Rika. They're both back, but Rika seems like it has a lot more of an eye raise to it, and it kind of feels like maybe finishing dates sort of deal. But that's big speculation. We don't know anything. All this is rumor and conjecture, but a lot of that seems like a little odd to be doing just a week before your big show to announce that all of a sudden. But I have numbers. I know how you like numbers.
Love numbers.
So I have numbers. So TJPW right now has been doing these reservation tickets with portraits. Now these are kind of first row and VIP only, but you can get a specialty ticket where you can pick a wrestler, and they'll get the commission for the ticket, and you get an autographed 8x10. Each wrestler is given 100 of these that are available. Now, this number is public. So if you go to the TJPW store to buy stuff, it'll tell you how many are available. This is the up-to-date number, and this has come from the Japanese side of the community brought over to the Western side of the community, and this is very, very much interesting. So I'm going to go over some of the big names, not the entire list. But at the very bottom, last tier, with 92 over 100 still available, Marika Kobayashi. And what's interesting about that is she just recently started saying, I want to tweet more in English. The Japanese fans aren't engaging with me enough. Her exact words.
I did see that tweet by her. I was like, oh, okay.
So, and then when you look at her engagement, it's like, that's exactly what's happening. But she used to be so popular. What changed? Well, what changed is gimmick changed. She went from the schoolgirl, under 18, kind of innocent.
Right.
Was it Girl of the Future, Girl of the Millennium, or whatever they called her, right? Princess of the Future. There was some nickname they gave her, right? Then she came back. She's popular still, right? Then she left again. Then she's come back. Now she's a gyaru. Now, I don't know if you know this about Japanese men, but Japanese men kind of intimidated by women, right?
Sure, yeah.
Kind of a thing over there right now, right? That's why the birth rate's at least one of the reasons why, right? They're even more intimidated by gyarus because gyarus are seen as super confident. Maybe they get in a little bit of trouble. Maybe they're just a little too sexy for their tastes because they're so timid. And so that's probably hurt her popularity more than she probably expected it to. So 92 tickets. She's only sold 8 of them. These things have been on sale for like 3 weeks now. It's not a good look, right? Trailing right above her is Hyper Misao, but you expect that comedy gimmick. She's married, so you're not gonna get a whole lot of fans. She also was never super popular. Fans love her. She's funny, but she's not a popular wrestler. So she's only sold like 89 tickets, or she has 89 left. So I'm gonna skip up a little bit. The big one, and the one that's I've told is sort of backs up what I've said about Miyu Yamashita, how she's not very popular. She has 81 tickets available.
Yeah.
She's only sold 19 of them. And she's your champion. She's your ace. And she's like at the bottom 5, bottom 6.
Yeah, you've mentioned this before. I mean, the numbers check out to these things.
Right. Her and Palm sold the same amount so far. Eko Haruna sold more than her.
Yeah, ideally you want your ace to be one of your most popular guys. It'd be weird if we looked up kind of merchandise sales for, say, Okada, and he's at the bottom of the list with Yoshihashi going above him. It doesn't sound right, and things like this is why we keep saying things around. Miyu Yamashita is very ice cold right now, and things like this kind of back that up.
So I'm gonna
who's at the top?
Numbers.
Give me who's at the top. Give me the top
Yuki
three.
Arai. Yuki Arai is at the top.
Yep.
I was surprised that she sold out all of her tickets within 24 hours.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like someone has momentum and is popular, and you should probably push them.
Riho sold hers out in less than 24
Well,
hours.
Riho's international ratings star K. I mean, come on.
She
doesn't count. She's in a category of her own.
She's also very popular already in Japan, so she was already gonna get that. Mizuki sold 71 of them, the most of everybody, and I think last I checked, she sold a little bit more.
Yep.
Whatever. Fuck you. That goes to show you what I've said before. The 2019 numbers still check out. She's their most popular wrestler. Why isn't the belt around her waist? Beyond me, right? Suzume comes in at the next one just below her, selling 42 tickets. So after this point, there's a big steep drop off where nobody's hit 50%. Ito right behind her at 56 tickets available still, so she sold 44 of hers. Sayuri Namba, the fucking announcer, sold more than Yuka Sakazaki.
Yeah, the announcer's more over.
Yeah. Well,
or at least with the crowd that they're currently drawing. That's something to be said too.
So that leads into a very interesting conversation that's popped up over in Japan, where people are talking about not wanting to buy Magirabi merch anymore because they want them to split. They want Mizuki to be a single star, and they're kind of getting tired of seeing her and Yuka together. That's not good when that's your most popular tag team, and people are like, yeah, we're tired of seeing them. We want one of them to be a star, the other one we're tired of seeing. Yuka's kind of getting that same sort of level of overexposure, I think, seems to be with the fans, like Miyu's getting. So I'd be careful with them. I think I'd have her more excursions.
Look, fans want new stars. Fans don't want the past stars to just go away. but they want new ones to be made, and this is a topic we've been talking about a lot lately with a company like TJPW and Actress Girls. When you have that same generation on top and everyone else is just hanging out and can never get over the hump past that generation, the fans tend to get tired of these things, and it's kind of what we're seeing right now. That's why we're saying Maki Ito has to win. And it's not just for her; it's for the company.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over 2 more people that are part of the Big Four, the original 4. Shoko is 71 of them available. She's only sold 29. Now Kakuta and Arisa Endo have sold more than her. Right? Rika Tatsumi has sold the same amount as Yuka Sakazaki, but those 2 are the top 5, the big 3 or the big 5, or big 4. Only 2 of them are tied together in the top 5. If you take out Arai and Riho, their big 4, the fans, you could kind of feel that they're tired of them. I think Rika they'd have been more okay with if she didn't just get fucking kneecapped. So I think the fan perception of her has dropped now because of that.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But that's all I got on that note, on that front.
Yeah, so Magi Rabi going for the titles. Fucking Yuki Aino going against Hikari Noa. Kind of surprised Hikari Noa wasn't higher, but anyways.
None of the up girls are on this list because they're sold separately.
Oh, is that the deal? Okay, all right.
Yeah, so Kami was also not on it because she chose not to participate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that some of that kind of raises a bit of a flag for me personally.
Interesting.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know, maybe the cut wasn't her way or not, but she has a separate contract. She's not signed time with them.
Kami, you playing hardball over here. All right, I like her more.
Well, no, so she did come from her dojo.
I have my headcanon going on right now. You will not ruin this. Kami,
no, you'll like this even more. I guarantee you'll like this even more. So she came from their dojo. She's a signed wrestler, but now she's a dual contract signed wrestler. That's why she's got this modeling gig going on.
Yeah, okay. So she's got a good side hustle going on, potentially making more money.
Potentially, I think it is making more money. Just gonna go out on a limb. She promotes a lot of her modeling stuff, and I get the feeling that she's quite attractive over there. You know, long legs, pale skin.
Yeah,
tends to be a popular thing over there. So just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I mean the rest of the Wrestle Princess card. I'm super curious. Like, I'll be watching the show. I'll be enjoying my time, but I mean it's gonna come off like Dangerous Gate with me, probably. I imagine.
Happening at the same time as Stardom show. They're both happening around the same time.
Well,
maybe an hour difference. I forget which one has the
I won't watch
either
of them live. I'll watch them both on delay. So
I'll be watching them both live, but paying more attention to Stardom.
Well, I mean,
the main event.
What's there to pay attention to on the? Well, outside of the main event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, exactly. It'll be there. I can kind of see what's going on, but really, it's not the main event.
I mean, they just announced a lot of outsiders coming in for a special appearance. You know, you got Aja Kong, you got Veni, you got Riho,
Kai Chao. It feels like they're in panic mode right now, especially because those last-second announcements are coming out of nowhere.
I mean, it's a lot of inconsequential matches, so whatever.
Right, but it's definitely. I mean, what promotion do you know that announces their card, and then as they get closer to the show, oh hey, person here is also now on the card. Didn't that come off a little desperate to you?
Well, no, that's a flag that they are trying to sell more tickets because they haven't sold enough.
Exactly. That's what comes off to me as well.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. All right, let me play an Ice Ribbon Drop. I don't have Ibuki Hoshi's music, and I wish I do. But I do have Tsukasa Fujimori.
Fujimori, right.
How CMLL tweeted her name out, which was funny. So yeah, play Tsukasa's theme. All right, Ice Ribbon. Kay, take me through Yokohama thoughts. Let's let's get this over quick, because there's one match in particular I want to talk about, and then everything else is just kind of there for me.
Well, the opener was Suzu and Ano having a tag match that was a little consequence, but was meant to sort of prop them up more as a tag team. I think this is the one where they debuted their brand new gear from the Gacha game that their guild won.
Right.
Cool gear. I like it.
Yokohama took place after Knight's Ribbon on September 20th, for the record.
Right. We're talking about Knight's Ribbon, right?
Ice Ribbon, yeah.
And I said we're talking about Ribbon Nights, right?
Well, Ribbon Nights was on September 18th at Korakuen.
Right. That's the only show we're talking about. Yokohama didn't have a whole lot going on outside of the main event.
Yeah, I mean, get over the main event quick then at Yokohama,
Okay,
so we can just kind of. I mean, they're building up Tsukushi Tsukasa, and
that's pretty much it. But that was at the end of Ribbon Nights.
Momo Kogo, yeah, but they on the mid card at Yokohama, they built that up more. Momo Kogo, is it just me, or is she like entrenched in Ice Ribbon now and going to Mexico? Do you get the feeling that she's going to come back as I can't throw around superstar with just the size of Ice Ribbon, but in terms of Ice Ribbon, you think she's going to come across as a way bigger star for the promotion?
I think her going with them to Mexico is a big sign of maybe she'll be a regular, but I thought about it for a bit there, and I think maybe we might be reading a little bit more into it. So it's with CMLL, right? Who else has a partnership with CMLL? Actress Girls. They have a partnership with CMLL. Did you forget? Jazz is a thing that Tei Hanma and now Kakata and Hikaru Shimizu ran, and there's a big partnership with Actress Girls and CMLL through Tei Hanma. So that's still in effect. They still have that partnership. So that could be very well why Kogo is there, because she's part of that program, the Jast thing with Tei Hanma. So that could be why she was picked, right? I mean, Hikaru Shimizu is involved in an angle over there. They don't want to send her, and Hanma's hurt. Makes sense. They don't have Kakata anymore, so who else to send? Kogo. That's kind of where my brain went with it. So I don't think I think there's not much to read into. I would like to see her be a regular in Ice Ribbon more.
Sure, seeming like she's gonna be.
She's a regular on Peace Party, which is what's just being specified here. This is a Peace Party strip. This is supposed to be Tsukushi and now Ishikawa, and Tsukasa was supposed to be kind of the chaperone big star to go with them. But that was kind of be it. So it was going to be more of a Peace Party thing with Tsukasa just kind of being there to help mediate things and be the big star for shows. Anything else. So I'm not going to read too much into it.
Okay.
I like her to be a regular, but I'm fine with her being a regular in Peace Party for right now, at least if that's where they want her to be. Don't need to force anything if you don't need to.
Nah. All right. That was just kind of my takeaway from Yokohama, and then the main event with Saoriano, Suzu Suzuki, Tekla losing to Rebel Enemy. Tekla, okay, she looks like she's gonna get an Infinity title match at some point.
Sure seems like it, but I don't think it's gonna be with Suka.
The Mad Doctor gimmick is winning me over a lot.
Fans love her, so she's definitely getting over with the fan base over there. I could see them doing that. They're definitely building to it, and I can see that being one of Tsukushi's first defenses. Because I'm fully convinced Tsukushi's taking that belt off Suka. I just can't.
Well,
it feels like the right opponent. Like you said, it's the right opponent at the right time, and who else?
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about how they've gotten to the destination, but I'm in for the result, no doubt.
I'm all about it because it's all feeding into the story, and I'm a mark for stories, and I'm definitely a mark for this story. But they had Tsukushi winning her Juku belt back, which I thought was going to happen anyways.
Yeah, kind of saw that coming. Yeah.
Yeah, because they wanted the belt off for to potentially set up a match at the Yokohama Budokan just in case, Nanai couldn't make it because of the coronavirus thing. So now that that's done, just put the belt back on Tsukushi. There was no point taking it off her anyways outside of that.
Yeah, decent little 11-minute match.
It was fine. It was one of, again, Hamako's best matches. So it's kind of great that she's having great matches with Tsukushi and Suka.
You want to hear some positive ham?
Yeah. Favorite wrestler?
Calm down. Ham, has toned up, and she's moving better. She looks younger. Look, it's showing in her ring game. I'm proud of her, Kay. She's improved her game, and she's toned up. Good for her.
Now I'll go buy an 8x10 from her and just be a happy fan. I think in my head it's like, oh yeah, she's just trying to do this because her daughter is now becoming a big star, so she doesn't want to be left behind by her own daughter. That's where my brain goes with it. I can only imagine they probably played that some kind of promo already, given where Ibuki is currently with her star power. But you're right, she has toned a little bit. I think that was always the plan for her. I think she was always going to do that. It felt like she was heading that direction before the pandemic anyways, if you kind of paid attention to what she was kind of trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
Tag belts and stuff. Yeah, I feel like that was kind of what she was trying to do, but then the pandemic happened, so just let it go anyways at that point.
Yeah. Oh, we got to mention our one of our favorite girls, Asahi. She is
hurt.
She has a whack injury with her hip and leg, and it's such a shame. We speculated just kind of like how the injury is and how you might get it, that she overtrained and hurt herself because of that. We spoke a long time over kind of based on her own promo, basically, that she cut about she's kind of feeling left behind with Suzu, and I'm just going to throw Ibuki into the conversation there because she's as young as them. She's in that ballpark. I know that's not exactly what she herself was referencing, but me as a fan, it's like, oh yeah, I can totally see the frustration there in where Asahi is. Her skill level is certainly getting passed up, and I think her potential is still certainly there. We definitely see it. I even commented the last episode that she looks in great shape. Her legs are in fantastic shape, and you need that for the Ice Ribbon style. She's always looked good, and she looked absolutely ready to be back. And it's a shame that it looks like this injury could have been because of the overtraining and being frustrated. And that's the tough part of being an athlete, isn't it?
Yeah. So she did a blog post, which is where you're getting the thoughts about her talking about overtraining, because that's where that came from. Her promo was just her announcing that she was hurt and she was going to take time off. And I think currently they're still kind of holding out on announcing her for cards or off of cards because she's kind of week by week, day by day.
Oh, this injury is a pain in the ass.
Right. So in her blog post, because she doesn't have a Twitter, because she's one of the wrestlers that doesn't have it because she's under 20. So her blog post, she talks about how she now understands the frustration of those who've been injured because she's never been hurt before. She understands it. It's depressing. It's upsetting. But the left behind thing, so I kind of get why you want to mention Ibuki because she's in the same age bracket, but I think she's 100% on Suzu, which I get why she does it because they're dojo mates. There's like a term for it, but they're dojo rivals. They came out at the same class. They came in the dojo at the same time, debuted around the same time. They were supposed to debut the same day or something, a week. But Suzu had her bike accident, and she's comparing herself to Suzu, and I think it's heartbreaking. I get why she would do that, but it's so unfair to do that because Suzu's a prodigy. You cannot compare yourself to her because she's on such a different level. To even hope to get that would be, of course, you would overwork yourself. Not only behind because of time, but you're never going to catch up to that. And it's unfortunate. I kind of hope she realizes that herself or somebody pulls her aside and just talks to her. It's like, hey, listen, don't set expectations like that on yourself. It's not healthy. It's not good. You should always do to best of your ability, and eventually you'll get there. Like, maybe just don't completely tell her, oh yeah, you're never going to get there. Just try to spin it in a way. I just felt so bad for her. Because you realize she just had mental health problems, which is why she didn't come back right away. And it's just a whole thing with her. I love Asahi, and I really hope she comes back. Better than ever, really.
All right. Rina Yamashita defeats Tekla 12:53. Chain hardcore match. Not a dog collar type chain match. It was just, here's a bunch of chains, and we're going to do some shit in the ring. I thought this was a lot of fun. They did some wacky things with it. Tekla is so improved in the ring. I love watching her. She's on the way up, and losing to Rina Yamashita in a match like this only it raises her stock more. I thought this was a win.
Yeah, definitely. I think the match was you had to hit somebody with the chain move or a chain period. to get a pin, so you cannot pin someone off a normal move, which is why Yamashita finished it with a fucking splash mountain on just a pile of chains, a fuck you to your back and your spine.
Yeah, I'm sure that felt great.
Oh, I imagine it felt fantastic in the morning. Oh, but that match ruled. Rina Yamashita, great. Speaking of Rina Yamashita, big news, she's going to be in the States soon. GCW announced that she's going to be there in November 12th and November 13th. So, you know what? I don't know what the world is anymore, but I'm sure didn't see that coming.
She's coming in. I'm sure she'll make an appearance in AEW out of nowhere. Watch.
Maybe. I mean,
she'll make some dark appearances at least. I bet you.
She's a freelancer, so.
Yep.
Well, could do it. I think it's.
You think she's going to join up with Ryo Mizunami?
They're friends, so
yeah.
they could. They're both from Osaka, so hey, Osaka people tend to stick together. They're loud, boisterous, and too friendly with each other.
Yeah, sick. All right.
I kind of find it interesting. I don't remember the exact date for Ode Award, so that makes me wonder if she's not going to be on the Ode Award card, if it's on the 11th, how she would make that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the date for it, so I would have to look that up again. But hopefully she's on that card. I feel like they definitely need a fantastic defense somewhere on there, right? Be honest with the card without it.
Maybe it's not necessary. I mean, they could easily just do a Suzu hardcore match.
They could, but she's going to have a tag title match on that card, so can't do both.
Oh, yeah, you can't do both.
Because they announced that already.
Risa Sarah exploding bat match?
She's going to be in the same tag title match.
Ah! All my ideas are shot down with logic.
Hey, you know what they're doing? They're doing something you're supposed to do when you have a card. Fucking announce things and build to them.
Oh.
It's a novel concept, I know.
Novel. Osprey Revolution defeats the Rebel enemy duo of Mike Ozaki and Ram Kaicho. 17:45. Look, Osprey Revolution. They're a good team. This was way better than I anticipated.
I mean, Risa Sarah seems to be just putting in a lot more work than she had prior. Outside of her hardcore matches, when she was in tag matches, I wouldn't say she was mailing it in, but she certainly wasn't going this hard.
No,
she didn't feel like 2016 Risa Sarah all over again, where she's just like busting bitches on their head. I'm down for it. I'm super happy for it. I love Azure Revolution, and them as a tag team being back together again is great. Outside of the best friends, I'm my favorite tag team, so I love that.
Yeah, the opposite reaction that we had with Magi Rabby.
Oh, I know, right? It's fucking amazing how these things work, especially because there was a build and a story to this one, why they got back together.
Weird how that works. Tsukasa Fujimoto main event. Last little segment here before we get into the retro. Defeats the Bookster, Ibuki Hoshi. 21 minutes, 3 seconds. One of the longest Infinity title matches this year. I know this because I did a fun semi-main event and main event match time statistics study posted up on Twitter at BowlingJD. Easy enough to look it up. Look, Kay, this is right up my alley. Ibuki,
this is great.
Working on her chop. Aja Kong story kind of played into that, and Ibuki has leveled up. This was a match of like All Japan Pro Wrestling strong style, where they just chopped the shit out of each other. It was all about just wearing your opponent down and kicking each other, at least in Tsukasa's case, but it just kept gearing up over and over and over again. The redness on their chests and the gunshots, like I thought I was watching a Vaulter match from WXW. Like, this is my favorite match style, like without question. And when Ibuki Hoshi, in this match, started to rip the top gear off of Tsukasa Fujimoto, and then like the camera zoomed away just in case there was a wardrobe malfunction, and then it was like, okay, it's okay.
They got very wary with it.
Yeah, they went back, and Tsukasa just has, it's not even a sports bra she has on, it's just like a shirt.
it's like the undershirt tank top portion of the gear.
Yeah. So that's just left. So her chest is, at least the top of her chest is exposed more, and Ibuki just goes to it more. Oh, it was like when that happened, when things like this happen in matches, it's something unique, it's another element brought to the match that is so rare. Like, I can't tell you off the top of my head someone like ripped. Like, you see dudes wearing shirts in matches and they get ripped off and it exposes their chest, but you don't see it with women matches.
No, you
I
don't.
can't think of a single time this has happened.
It might have been a time in the 90s, maybe, but you have to dig for it because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But in modern days, fuck no, this isn't happening because you don't do that. The gear, most gear doesn't have an undershirt like that, so you rip the top off, you're just ripping the whole goddamn thing off.
Right.
So that's kind of one of the reasons why that doesn't happen all that often. But I think also the idea of the gear and how expensive it normally is kind of prohibits people from wanting to do that. That said, Suka's probably one of the only wrestlers on that roster who can get away with doing that with because she fucking has so many pairs of the same gear, just different designs, that it doesn't even matter anymore, really. I forget the match, but Ibuki had talked about wanting to do a similar match to, like, it was a Kobashi and somebody else with a slap match. She was referencing a match
that
she wanted
sense.
to do. And, yeah, and right there, just the fact that so I've watched this match 4 times now.
Oh my god, crazy.
I know. That's not surprising. I watch these main events more than one time all the time. They're great.
I mean, I watched it twice because I watched it drinking with you, and then I was like, all right, I gotta watch it again.
So the more I watch this, the more awesome the match came off to be. And then when you try to time it, which I did try, I think 80% of the match was just fucking chops. 80% of the match, roughly a little over 80%, I think, was just fucking chops. And I'm just like, oh, this match ruled. Ibuki Hoshi lost, but coming out of this, she felt like such a fucking star. I've never seen anybody as star go from mid-card to just elevate to if she told me tomorrow that she was challenging for the tag belts, or if she was re-challenging for the Fantastic belt, or challenging for the Infinity belt again, I'd totally buy it. She's a main event player now. This match made her. It is awesome. I really hope she sticks with wrestling. It's my biggest concern with her, because she's a really good student, and so I really hope she sticks with wrestling and doesn't just leave for college, come back, and not be the same wrestler. As Jesus Christ, if you just combine her with Suzu and Yuki Mashiro and Sahi when she gets back, and the young core of this fucking roster is just absurd.
Yeah, I agree. This is elevating some, and this is what makes Tsukasa Fujimoto's runs in Ice Ribbon so fun and interesting. Is the goal of every single one of her runs is to get new stars over.
And her half ones, especially. Her early ones weren't so much. It's much more establishing.
Well,
her,
I mean, it was establishing her, obviously.
Right. But her last, I'd say her last 2, the one establishing Maya, and maybe the one before that was establishing Risa Sera.
It was Risa Sera, Maya, and now this one. So there's 3 right there of her 6 reigns. So that's half. Half her runs do this.
She said 7 reigns.
Whatever. So that's okay, just under half.
You put respect on her name.
So Ibuki Hoshi is very young. What is she, 19?
She is 18.
18. She's fucking 18. Okay. And, oh, shit, even when she didn't have the title, she put over Suzu. So.
Yes, and she put over Sakushi all in the same year.
So, there's another teenager she put over. And now you have Ibuki here, who's been kind of on this weird back burner, feuding with her mom, tag team with her mom kind of situation. And all of a sudden she just gets this shot and put out a match like this at 18 years old against the ace of the company, or the stalwart of the company, whatever moniker you want to put on her. And this is an overnight star made for Ice Ribbon. It's such a success. Now you can slip her into any main event going forward. Now when she goes into a tag title run, she comes off as more credible. You don't immediately now, because there was a long time I just said, okay, she's the pin eater. She doesn't have that anymore coming off a match like this. You can slip her into a Fantastice title and you think she could possibly win. I mean, is it obvious now more than ever that she's going to beat her mom for something? That's a big story. That's a big story they've been building too.
I think that's one of the stories, but I think the bigger story that they're trying to do right now is her winning her first belt before she goes back to school.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be I want to say it was going to be the tag belts, but it really feels like it's just going to be the JQ title. She'll probably take it off of Sakushi.
Yeah, that's a
Probably
good one.
makes the most sense
That's a
to
great
me.
one.
So, yeah, because I think Sakushi's primed for the Infinity Belt. She's going to win it off of Asuka. I just can't see. I can't see that going any other direction right now in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, just like in Dragon
Especially
Gate.
given the post match.
Yeah, just like in Dragon Gate with Yamato and the Kota Minoura match, Kota Minoura's first big Dreamgate defense or title match, and you had the ace of the company just putting on the best match they could to get the guy over more. And in that sense, Dragon Gate was a success. In Ice Ribbon's case, they did the exact same thing here, and I think it worked even more for Ibuki Hoshi.
I think it worked 10 times more. The match itself was, I think, way better. Like, leagues better, I think. This is a 5-star match.
I didn't say it was leagues better. I gave this match a 3 out of 3 recommendation. It's so easy. I didn't even have to think twice about it. It's my second best match of Ice Ribbon this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's the second. I think it's like the third. Because I think the Maya Suka match and the Suka Suzu match are still the top two. No, it's actually it's at 4 because the Suzu or the Suka Kushi match. I think the beginning of that run.
You're in the ballpark of me. It's fine, Kay. It's okay.
It's fucking. You're just ignoring these other great title matches.
I'm not ignoring them. I have those same ones in the ballpark as you too. Just different orders.
Gosh, your order's wrong.
Oh, get out of here. Look, this match ruled. I love the post-match pictures of them just the meat on their chest are just raw.
So post-match.
Yeah, post-match. All right, give it to me.
So they about that this warm embrace, this moment they're hugging. In comes shit heel Sakushi off the top rope. Drop kicks the fuck out of Tsukasa. Challenges her to her match. I think Suka's like, "Are you sure about this?" She's like, "Yes, I'm sure." "You sure?" "Yes, I'm sure." It's everything about this was great. They even had a match on the dojo show the couple days later, where it went to a time draw. It was a 10-minute match, part of their little tag league thingy, the 10-minute league thingy they're doing.
But draws are bad, Kay. Not allowed to have draws.
Oh, get the fuck out of here, scrub. And the coolest part of that was Sakushi was targeting the chest and continued to target the chest, and even in the tag match on the dojo show before that, she targeted the chest.
No mercy.
So 2 weeks in, it's Suka's chest is still raw and hurting. It's great. But last bit of information I have to share with you at Ice Ribbon, they announced today that they are going to be in a formal partnership with CMLL's Ladies Club League or whatever the fuck. Basically, they're, quote, going to be training some of their women, quote unquote. I don't fucking... It, to me, it screams like the fucking All Japan thing. It's probably not going to pan out.
Doesn't matter to me. Makes no difference.
It's an announcement, and Ice Ribbon's not having to spend any money to be involved in this, so they lose nothing. They gain more, if anything. Even if it doesn't work out or works out, it doesn't matter for them.
Cool. Sakushi winning that title soon. Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, I'll cry man tears.
All right, time to go on to the retro. Mr. K, I guess it's time we start introducing this section as All Japan Women Destiny here on the podcast proper.
Ooh, we're finally there, are we?
Kinda. You know, I've
kinda.
Yeah, we caught up on AJW Destiny to where you joined the podcast. We're a few episodes in there. Your audio is way better these days.
I know. I'm not recording off of my cell phone.
Yeah, this is way better. We are more well-informed with a lot of context, which is probably the most interesting part. I feel like I mention this every time, but it's always the most interesting part to my wrestling fandom in watching a lot of these, some of the greatest matches in women's history.
I'm kind of afraid to listen to my own audio from back then because I had a lot of information in my head, but not a lot of context for information. And then even some of the information I think I had, I wasn't even right about some of it because I thought of something completely different. Like, I was not very versed on the 80s outside of Crush Gals.
You see, I'm way more versed on the 80s these days, but I still, like, despite how much I've learned and how much I want to convey to the audience, I still have a bad habit of messing up dates, what order things have happened in, but at least the matches I can still enjoy, and hopefully that gets a lot. Like, for example, the most recent one we put out, this kind of the timeline here, was watch the Crush Gals just beat the snot out of the Calgary Typhoons. Poor Yumi Ogura.
Your fucking mid-favorite.
She is such a favorite of mine, along with Norio Tateno of the Jumping Bomb Angels. Like, if those two could team up, oh my god. Like,
be your dream team. Be the most mid-dream team of all time.
Look, man, I love Devil Masami, Jaguar Yokota. Like, Dump Matsumoto is like my spirit animal of violence. But
spirit animal of violence is a good way to put it.
But when it comes to just kind of how Tateno and Ogura, you want to root for the underdogs. I can't help myself.
Oh no! In your
but
case, you want to root for the
you just know in your heart. You just know he'll never win.
It explains why you like Jungle Kyoto and so many KZ and all these other
Yeah, you got to take the small, like, tag title victories. And
you're overachieving mid-carders. Work very hard, but get nowhere.
Yeah, well, this episode today, we have entered 1992, okay?
Pivot year, I think, for the most part, where we're starting to see the new stars be more defined.
In AJW for sure, and there's things happening in the scene as well during 1992.
Yeah, JWP starts. Not yet though. We're still too early in. It starts, I think, midway in the year.
Yeah, the split of the JWAP and LLP dubs happens.
Yeah, I think it's God, off the top of my head, I want to say it's April.
JWAP?
I want to say it's April off the top of my head. I can't. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's in April when it happens.
Something like that. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, so don't quote me on it.
Very pivotal year. And I, on the Patreon, have an LLPW journey I'm going on, very much similar to this one. Watching a lot of shows. There's some tape trades you could get out there, various matches, and my next episode is going to be kind of a best of in JWP of Rumi Kazuma, because she's a very pivotal.
Ooh, yeah.
She's a very pivotal connection.
Passed away recently.
Yeah, she just passed away. Battle with bad health, and she was very pivotal to the start of LLPW. And she was part of that split, part of Kandori's crew, I guess you could say. And
friends with Kandori. I think the argument could be made that without her there, LLPW wouldn't have gone off the ground because Kandori was not the business kind of person.
No, that's kind of obvious. But yeah, sign up on the Patreon, Red Leaf Retrocast, get these LLPW reviews. I've entered 1993 when the joint shows start happening. So the start of LLPW was kind of a rough one, filled with a lot of speculation.
Filled with Jim Cornette.
A joint show with a region in Minnesota. But anyways.
It's Minnesota.
Yeah, you have to say it like that. There's no other way. I lived in the UP of Michigan for a little while, going to college.
Oh boy, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Michigan's a terrible state.
Look, man, you don't mess with the Yoopers.
The Yoopers. Well, if you want to, if anyone's interested in a little bit more of 2000s, recently I think we've released my recent episode of JD Star 2000, another very interesting episode. Hachiabe 5th anniversary match.
Yeah, I listened to it. It was. I've listened to your last couple episodes. They're very interesting to say the least. A good thing and a bad thing happens. Put it that way.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because the episodes are the one I did last time and this one are split between two different portions of the same Korakuen Hall show. So it's really interesting seeing what main evented and what didn't for reasons.
Yeah, a lot of things get split up that way. It's funny how that works when it comes to tapes. But we are here at Korakuen Hall, a show called Korakuen Supercharge. January 4th, 1992, Tokyo, Japan, of course. 1,500 in attendance. You know what? You know what's funny, Kay?
Yeah.
Despite the popularity of AJW, or at least they're regrowing their popularity at this point in time, You think of like 1,500 in attendance at Korakuen. I mean, put that in perspective of like kind of what world we live in currently, and watching Stardom get 1,500 at Oda Ward, and we're like, oh man, fucking fantastic number, which it is. Then when
Very
you put
fantastic number for them.
But it's going to be very interesting to see when everything starts to come back together, when that may happen, what these companies will be able to draw again. Will we see a 1,500 at Korakuen like we did with AJW here? It's such a difference what these crowds are.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll go out and limb, have a bit of a hot take. I think Stardom eventually is going to eclipse attendance numbers for AJW, like easy.
In terms of like what year, or
I just think in general. I think if you take their peak and you're going to take where Stardom's going to be in the next couple of years, I think Stardom might start eclipsing them in terms of overall attendance. They're running bigger venues more consistently, and I can't see that changing.
I don't know. It all depends on how much they draw and to justify those big venues. Right now, it's like a perfect time for Perception, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
So let's get started here. Supercharge. I would go over the full card, but we got this Classics episode number 53. This got what mattered. We did not watch the Bat Yoshinaga tag. Thank God that wasn't on here.
Yeah, you don't need to watch that.
You know what? Let me in real time pull it up.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because I have my inner wrestling masochist. We've been over this before.
You're a masochist. You want to watch Bat Yoshinaga and her terrible wrestling.
Yeah, I even have the timestamps for these matches.
Oh, too much detail. Too much information for a Bat Yoshinaga.
Opener K. Akemi Torisu, Kazuo Saito, Tomoko Watanabe defeat Kaoru Ito, Mayumi Yamamoto, and Miori Kamiya. Some of these names may ring a bell.
Some of them ring a bell later when they change their names to people you will recognize more.
Yeah. Also on this card that wasn't on the Classics, the only other one that wasn't, was the Jungle Jack versus Bull Nakano and Bat Yoshinaga match.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good match only because Bat's involved.
Well, it's going to be a lot of lumbering punches. That's what you get. That went 17 and a half
lumbering
minutes.
Punches.
I don't mind missing that one. I'll live.
Especially because what we get in this portion is the better shit, the good shit.
I would say this is probably the 4 best matches, especially the last 2. I adored these last 2. I have them written down as a 1992 match of the year, like a list.
I'll be gushing about one of them when we get to it.
Yeah. So the first match was Mariko Yoshida and Takako Inoue, still sporting their turquoise and stripes that look not so great. They look like a couple clowns.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, turquoise clowns. They take on and defeat now being known as LCO. Las
Officially,
Corachas Orientales. Etsuko Mita and Mima Shimoda. 13 and a half minutes. Very enjoyable. This was the Takako Inoue show.
Sure was. They're definitely trying to continue to sort of push her as more of a figure. Maybe they're trying to make her Cutie Suzuki. They're Cutie Suzuki.
Yes,
it's very,
we've been
very
over
clear.
that.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing I thought of this is they're officially now LCO. They've teamed before, but now they're officially being announced as LCO. Their looks are very different than what they will be. I think, was it Shimoda is wearing the tuxedo gear?
No. That was Mita.
That's right.
Get your facts straight, because Shimoda is showing off them legs. Mita is doing the tomboy tuxedo look.
It's so weird because when they get on later, it's such a different, drastic look for both of them. It's crazy, but it's kind of funny to see which ones they're trying to push towards a different demographic. I think they're trying to make this sort of the women like Mita and the men like Shimoda sort of group, and it doesn't work that way ever.
Got to get the pulse on your audience, but we're seeing this is probably the first match I recognized Mariko Yoshida's kind of improvement over the last 6 months to a year. I'm because there's another podcast out there. You may have referenced them before a few times, but it's Victory Through Guts. They do All Japan Women as well. Big Yoshida fans, or at least one of the hosts. I personally just haven't been seeing it. I've been kind of waiting on kind of what they see, and I think this was the match where I'm finally starting to see that flashes of how good she is touted by them. But in particular, I'm still very much on the Takako Inoue train. She showed a lot of fire in this match, and that's when the crowd finally got into it. It was all about her taking on Mima Shimoda for a good chunk of time. She's hitting suplexes, she's hitting drop kicks. Very much kind of the AJW style that's being developed here, where it's a lot more running and strikes, I've noticed.
Yeah, they're trying to speed up their sort of style. We see it a lot more in the last two matches, especially, where they're just trying to go a bit faster. Granted, AJW style had never been slow to begin with, really, but you're noticing the uptick in pace.
Well, you remember in like 89 and early 90, a very down year for AJW, it was around the time you joined, where,
Right?
you had Suzuka Minami, you had Hota to an extent, you had kind of the shoot fighting nonsense, but there was still a lot of groundwork being done, almost like a certain Jaguar was not in the back anymore. Almost like.
Yeah, so that's kind of this weird sort of, we don't know the timetable when she's back, but we're starting to notice it more now. It's debated whether it's 89, 90, when that time frame is that she leaves she doesn't leave the dojo fully, but she stops training the rookies. I do think by the point we're in now, she's not even in the dojo anymore. Like, she's kind of maybe helping out on some days, like she's like the general coach, but she's not really hands-on anymore.
Right.
I believe is the sentiment, but she's doing that out of protest because she wants to come back to wrestling.
Don't blame
And
her.
she's under contract still, and they're desperately trying to hold on to her because JWP's popping off, and we'll see in the next couple of years they start popping off more, and they get more fearful for leaving, let her come back. Very interesting.
And of all the people after this entire match, I guess it makes sense in hindsight because Takako got most of the shine, that Yoshida actually gets the pin and she rolls up Shimoda, which I thought was interesting from a booking perspective. I would think it would be Mita, but as you said, they're trying to get Mita to appeal back to the female crowd.
Yeah, so I think at this point, I remember reading something that at this point, as their popularity is starting to rise back up a little bit more, they're trying to desperately rope in most of the female audience because that's where a lot of the money was originally. Now, Matsunagas they're not smart when it comes to finances, right? We've established this with their history of bullcrap and them going under and everything, right? At this point, it wouldn't have been a smart idea to draw on the female audience, because they didn't have the money anymore. It was the men that had the money.
Yeah, we're approaching that, or we're already kind of in that economic crisis time, and it's at least starting.
A lot of the secretary jobs and stuff where the women were working are now being cut, and the salary men are getting the ones of the breadwinners in the household. So it's almost like they're like the schoolgirls that they used to borrow their parents' money or that worked part-time jobs don't have that money anymore. So it's kind of funny that they're still trying to pull in that audience, trying to harken back to the glory days of the Crush Gals, but we're past that time, and that demographic doesn't have the money, disposable income that they are still thinking that they have.
I can't blame them for still trying to keep that demo up. Look at us talking demos in 1992.
Well, you see with Kyoko Inoue was primarily the reason why she's getting, or not the only reason, but one reason why she's getting the push she's getting is because they feel like she would resonate more with the women. She kind of does, but we start seeing a shift in that.
I think based on the reaction and push she got in 91 and what we heard in the main event of this show, where Kyoko Inoue was, I think she's capturing that. I think she's capturing a younger demographic as well, which I thought was interesting. Just kind of listening to the crowd.
That sort of switches at a certain point, I think, if memory serves, where like the female fans get disillusioned a little bit with her. I don't know if that's the correct term there, but she becomes much more popular with men. But I think she's the only one that kind of has a mixed audience. I think a good example of stuff like that is you see some of the current wrestlers that were fans of Inoue. I saw that Kid's mom being the more notable one, and even Momo's mom was a fan of Kyoko Inoue. Those are very interesting things to look at.
Second match was Yumiko Hota teaming with Suzuka Minami. So we got a Firejet Marine Wolf coming together. They take on Debbie Malenko and Saki Hasegawa. I don't believe we've seen... If we have seen her before, I don't remember. But this is kind of the first... I don't remember
either, but I feel like I recognize the name, though.
I definitely recognize the name. I just haven't seen a whole hell of a lot of her. And what'd you think of this?
I think the first thing I noticed, and I even made the joke when we were watching, is, boy, Hota's gained a lot of weight. Just see it.
I think you're kind of overplaying.
I
she's gained a little. It's not this astronomical number that you make it seem like it is.
A bit exaggeratory, but it's enough to be very noticeable with the tight singlet that it's still the same singlet, by the way. She hasn't changed it. The same singlet. Top, I think, is at least the same. The bottoms are the only thing I think that changed.
Yeah, she's got a new design
probably
on the pants.
Probably because her waist size probably changed, so she had to change the bottom. But Hota, the big thing I noticed was Hota looked sloppy. She had her kicks, but she looked low effort, not really there.
Well, she's not getting a height on her kicks anymore. Very noticeable when Debbie Malenko gets in the ring and Hota just kicks, well, literally her ass and her ass only the whole time. She used to get the upper back. She used to be able to get it up and hit the chest more, but now she's just thigh hitting, ass hitting, and she's not in there very long at all. This was just much like Takako Inoue in the last match. This was the Suzuka Minami show.
Yeah, so I don't know if I don't think they're trying to push her so much anymore. As much I think this is by design that Hota just doesn't go anymore. So I think
she certainly wasn't in this match very much.
Oh no. But poor Suzuka Minami. She got her ass beat. She took a lot of bumps.
Oh, she took the brunt of the damage in the match, but she did still get a lot of offense in herself.
She definitely did.
I really liked Suzuka Minami in this match. She made Debbie Malenko get a lot of time, get a lot of offense in on her. Debbie looked good, got the showcase. Not too much out of Hasegawa. Perhaps there was a good chunk of this match that was cut out. That's very possible. But Hota, when she gets in, she stiff kicks Debbie a lot. Especially when Debbie... So what I mean is when Debbie's kind of on her fours or she's down, this is where Hota throws very, very hard kicks. Like tags her in the face a couple times. Perhaps they look good. Perhaps they're a little stiff. I mean, it was awesome, but it had me kind of cocking my head a bit. The one that definitely was absolutely a tag was this like jab to the chin, and you just see Debbie Malenko's head just cock back, and she goes down like she's been shot in her face. It was brutal. And it wasn't too long after that Hota gets out of the match. That's kind of the last you see of her until the finish. That's where Minami just takes over and makes the rest of the match, and the other two look good. Hota comes off the top with a wheel kick. That's from Chigusa Nagayo. She used to do that. Capture German suplex by now Minami to pin Hasegawa. So kind of what you expect as a finish.
I think this is the best we've seen of Debbie so far, at least that I can recall.
Yeah, she looked good. So, I liked what she showed here.
But to your point on Hota, I want to look more into it, but I feel like she had a reputation for shooting a little bit more, like being a little more stiff than she should have been at times with people.
I mean, it's very possible she was told to do that.
I don't know, because we would have seen the same thing with other people, I think, if that were the case.
It's probably her thing. The match went 15 and a half minutes, so they got a lot of time.
They did. So don't quote me on this, but I remember reading something, and I don't remember where, but that Hota had a rep for this. But that was like 2000s, I think, is where I read that, like a 2000s era thing. So I don't know. I want to look more into it.
Different times in those early 2000s,
right.
Kinda...
And she'd killed. She was like in the busy killing Arcean,
or what was left of it, anyways.
Right, calling it A to Z and then just murdering it. Yeah, it's great.
Minami Toyota versus Toshio Yamada. This is like their third or fourth match against each other at this point.
I believe it's their third.
Okay, tell me about it.
So. This is the third match in their series of matches that they will continue to have. This match was tons of back and forth, a lot of stiff kicks by Yamada, a lot of suplexes and really stiff looking drop kicks from Minami, a lot of crazy Minami doing shit off the top rope, and some of it landed, some of it didn't. They had the first portion of it went to a time draw. And then the crowd was chanting one more time or something, and they gave them a 10-minute extension. And then they hit the time limit there. The crowd continued to chant for more. They got another 10-minute extension, and they hit the time limit, and that was kind of all they could do. I think these two have I think you noticed it here, right? These two have the best chemistry out of any two wrestlers I've seen in this era, period. Just they work so well off each other. They kind of know each other so well that they don't have to really think too much about their spots. They just kind of react almost on instinct to each other. And I really, really like that. Yamada's got a lot of really nice kick sequences on Manami. Manami has a lot of really fiery comeback suplexes. She ends the final, sort of the final 10-minute draw portion by hitting the Japanese Ocean Suplex, the move that she passed on to Sakushi, but gets the time draw before she could hit the 3, which I thought was very cool. These two will have another couple series of matches that will, a bit of a spoiler, will end the same way until they get to their big match. And I think this is probably my favorite rivalry in all of AJW.
I can see why, because now I've seen it from the start, and with every match I get super more into it, and them going to...
The crowd does too, right? You notice the crowd does too.
They do 3 draws in this one match, and it's, to me, it was like, it roped me in, and it's so smart, because they do like a 20 or 25 or 30 minute draw, whichever it was for the first time, and Toyota demands a restart. Okay.
Well, the fans demand a restart, and they both Yamada and
well,
Toyota
you see Toyota going to the fans to beckon for more, and she gets it. They trade more big moves. This is when epic near fall start. Toyota goes full neck driver mode. She hits 3 of these things, like pile driver, but just on your neck.
Yeah, right.
And she does a what I'll call the moonsault kick. She's going for a moonsault press, but just fucking shin to head. There's your second draw. And Yamada gets the start this time. She pulls Toyota off the top rope because she's kind of hanging out there, like looking at the fans again. Yamada asks for the restart. She gets it. And then that led into, like you said, the Ocean Suplex for the third draw for 40 minutes. Yeah, I love this. This is being added to the 1992 Match of the Year list.
So this match was a 20-minute match that went to a time draw. And
Okay, so they
10-minute extension and another 10-minute
another
extension.
10-minute. All right. Yeah, it was kind of hard to get a gauge over the time. Like I was thinking maybe they did 30 minutes and then 2 5-minute extensions.
Let's do 10-minute extensions.
Yeah.
But this, like I keep saying, this is like my favorite rivalry, and you're starting to see it, right? Why this is my favorite rivalry in all of AJW. It has such a great build throughout the years. Because it goes on for multiple years. It doesn't end just in 92 or 93. I think it doesn't end until like 95.
Yeah, it starts becoming a big draw at house shows. You can
become a tag team. They become a tag team together. It's nuts, and it's easily my favorite. And I just love these two so much. It's great.
Yamada's got new gear. She's got the black and yellow. I love it. It's a very good look for her.
So it has that crazy ass tan.
The tans on this show in January were amazing. Kyoko Inoue's got a wicked tan. Yamada here has a wicked tan left over from probably the Mexico excursion. Mita's got a tan. Hokuto's got, I don't know, that could be a spray tan with the hot stuff. She looked a little red and ridiculous, but
it is quite nuts. They're definitely going for a more tanned look. I think that was kind of I want to say it was sort of the style of the time. You can see a little bit in the 80s too, like the tan sports athletic look was very, very in. On the volleyball too, as somebody who has watched 80s and early 90s Japanese women's volleyball specifically, being tanned was very much the in thing. It is meant to show that you're an outdoor person. You're always active. I think that was maybe why it caught on. Maybe I have no idea.
Okay, I could see that. Yep. And our main event, IWA Women's Title. Have you heard of that, Kay?
I sure have. It becomes important later.
Well, what's it about?
I don't. So the IWA belt, I can't remember off the top of my head where it's originally from, but it's obviously not an AJW belt. I think they grabbed it from Mexico. And
how do you think they got it from Mexico?
I believe the promotion died and they just grabbed the belt, took it. I can't. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I do believe it's a Mexico belt that they have in their possession, and it becomes sort of one of their belts that they use for feuds when the white and red belt are being preoccupied. It ends up being what Manami and Yamada end up feuding over.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of information on it myself, but it looks like Chigusa Nagayo won it in Canada in Stampede Wrestling.
Canada. So I thought it was a Mexico belt because I thought that they grabbed it from a promotion in Mexico that
And
folded.
then Medusa won it from Nagayo. Nagayo won it back, like, immediately. Then it was vacated. Medusa got it back in 89. Then it was vacated, and here Kyoko Inoue has it.
I'm trying to think what belt I'm thinking of now, because there's a belt that I believe it was them that grabbed it from Mexico. It might have been JWP now. There's a belt that comes from Mexico, a promotion that ends up folding, and the belt becomes part of the promotion.
Well, Mexico is definitely known for a lot of belts that just disappear or reappear, and it looks like Kyoko got this belt by beating Debbie Malenko in Mita, Tokyo, Japan. Okay. August 91, so this was her first defense. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. 24 minutes, 53 seconds. Kyoko Inoue defeats Akira Hokuto to retain the IWA World title, whatever it is. This Canadian-Mexican thing.
This Canadian-Mexican of unknown origin.
But the match was... I don't think this was as good as the Manami Toyota Yamada match. I definitely give that Toyota Yamada match a 3 out of 3 recommendation. And I'll give Inoue Hokuto a gentleman's 2 out of 3 recommendation. I don't think it reached the peak of Toyota Yamada. They did a lot of good stuff. It lacked a coherent flow to me. That makes sense.
I think first off we gotta talk about Kyoko Inoue's Saint Seiya gear.
Oh, Captain
here.
Kyoko?
Captain, what did I say? It was a great Captain Kyoko.
She's in this like all gold bodysuit with Pegasus boots, and she's got a striped mask that kind of reminded me of Vader's mask a little bit, but she's also got the cape, and
she's got a giant cape.
She looks ridiculous.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? The Mexico belt? I'm thinking of JD Starr's title, the TWF belt. That's what I'm thinking of.
How could you mess up these things, Kay? I can't believe you.
I'm remembering it now because, like, I think it's like Linus Asuka in '96 like takes it from Mexico when the promotion dies and just never gives it back.
Okay.
I don't know why I just remembered that, but yeah, fucking Saint Seiya Inoue over here.
I don't think it's a good look for her, Kay.
No, I think the gold bodysuit looks bad. It does not look good on her. It's a little too form fitting and does not do good for her. It's very gaudy and plasticky looking, actually.
Plastic's a good description. Akira Hokuto is still sporting kind of the half lifeguard. She's got the sleeve going on now. I noticed that, and she's got the karate sash. So little gear, just not. It's not. There's a subtle change, but not really. She hasn't grown her hair out.
Wait for her to just come out and just not have lifeguard gear finally. It's
just
gonna happen randomly on one show.
But I feel like I've been waiting on it since 1986, Kay.
Well, I mean, 1986 is a long time to be waiting for it. It didn't happen right away.
Dude, it's 6 years now. I need Dangerous Queen to show.
I think we're in the year that it happens. 92.
Good.
I think it's this year. If it's not this year, it's
I
definitely
have like
next
93,
year.
94 in my head about it, but I'm sure you're right.
Well, I know 94 is what she has the match with Tokyo Dome with it all. So
you said this is the year that you see a lot of these top stars start to come into their own. You know what else is coming into their own during this promotion? Dropping people on their goddamn necks.
Hey, you know what? Remember me last episode saying Stardom did the same thing, just dropping bitches on their head?
Well, this is specifically the neck.
Well, I mean, neck, head, same thing, right? I wonder where Stardom got that from. Could only wonder.
Well, maybe they're watching a lot of Hokuto tapes because she's not doing tiger drivers. She's doing tiger paws neck driver.
She's like, no. I'm not going to dome you. I'm going to neck you.
Like, everything was just... Okay, you know what we haven't talked about before? How hard this fucking mat is.
Yeah, so they haven't changed their ring. They haven't changed their the mat yet, like the canvas over top. Haven't got to the Pure Heart or no, was it not Pure Heart Pure Wrestling? That's JWP. Victory Through Guts. We haven't gotten to the Victory Through Guts logo
we're not
yet.
in that stage.
No, but that's when you start noticing the ring is a lot more stiff. I think we're starting to get there because the
more
ring
stiff?
is very. Yeah, the stiff ring that becomes a thing. I think later with that. So I think we're starting to see the beginnings of that.
Oh my God, it's stiff now. What are they going to be landing on bricks?
No, I don't think it gets. I think what I mean more stiff than it had been years prior. So I think this is about where it is when they changed the mat canvas.
This thing's brutal. Hokuto, near the end of the match, does her flipping Liger senton that she loves to do these days. She clearly watched a Liger tape and was like, I'm doing that from now on. She does one to the outside. But she's kind of got the match won at the end. She does a flipping senton. Kyoko Inoue just kind of shuffles out of the way. Hokuto hits this frickin' mat, and you just hear the bam, and she bounces awkwardly, and it's just... She might as well be landing on the hardwood floor.
I can't remember why they changed it. I think it's because it was cheaper. I think that might be why.
And they wonder why these women can't walk.
Hey, I think Manami Toyota is doing pretty well for herself.
Wow.
She can still walk.
Maybe Manami Toyota flying to the outside all the time was to avoid the stiff mat.
It's a
Not
wonder
pumping on that. The floor is way softer.
It's a wonder how of all of the Joshi legends, she's the one that has no actual lower body issues as much. I mean, she still kind of has them, but she's getting old. But she's like a normal walking, functioning adult still. I'm definitely going with the conspiracy theory. She was flying to the outside to avoid the mat because at least people might catch her. And I've established in my headcanon the floor is just as hard or softer than the mat. I guess. I mean, you're not entirely wrong. This mat was very stiff. I could definitely hear it. It reminded me of the modern Diana ring with how stiff it is. Tuned, as some people say it is, which is the wrong word to use for it.
Do people really say the Diana ring is tuned?
Yes, it's not tuned. It's just dirty, old, and beat up.
Like, if you pull up those wooden boards underneath the ring, if they were rotten, I'd believe you.
They're probably not rotten, but they're probably beaten the hell out of. That's for sure. I mean, it's a cheap ring. When you can tell it, I think when you watch enough wrestling, you know when a ring's cheap, it's tuned, and when it's like a fresh ring, I think you can kind of pick up on at least some of the sounds, right?
Oh yeah, it's like me bowling on a synthetic wood lane as opposed to a real wood lane. There's your bowling reference for the day. Come on,
I wouldn't be able to pick that up.
Throwing a urethane ball down the lane instead of reactive. All right, enough with the bowling references. I'll go into the geology references another day. So Hokuto's dropping Kyoko Inoue on her neck, trying to paralyze her on purpose, followed by a powerbomb neck driver. Then she follows that up with not the best tiger suplex you've ever seen. This is where she goes into the missed top rope senton spot, and Kyoko busts out the clover leaf spin. So think of you have him in the cloverleaf submission hold, but instead of flipping over, you just go into the big spin with the cloverleaf, drops her, signals for the fire thunder bomb, and does not drop Hokuto on her neck. I guess she had
she's nicer to her opponent.
Kyoko is much nicer to opponents than Hokuto. Pins Hokuto, and Hokuto does the kick out at 3.1 little shtick there. You see that a lot in AJW currently.
You see a lot with particular wrestlers in modern Joshi.
Namely Roha and Chihiro. Wonder where they got that from.
You wonder, right? Who trained them? I wonder.
Yeah, people from this gen. Anyway,
at least one of them.
I mean, the 80s and 90s.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, Mako was late, but yeah, I guess. Same philosophy. Doesn't really matter.
Same philosophy. Kick out at 3.1.
Don't see Tsukasa Fujimoto to win that.
So yeah, I did vastly enjoy this as well. 2 out of 3 recommendation. It's on the 1992 match of the year list. Very cool.
Yeah, but I still feel like the Yamada Manami match was way better. But
yes,
I'm also a mark for that entire feud, so.
No, I agree. It was better.
Oh, yeah, look at me.
Did I mention how long this
Didn't
went?
pick up
I
the
think
good
I did.
shit.
I probably did. 25 minutes,
It
just
doesn't
about.
matter. Yeah.
Well, that does it for AJW. Nice little long conversation there. I'm just going to go right into WCW.
Oh, no New Japan?
Hold the thought.
Ooh.
Playing the drop. Okay, I played the WCW Nitro drop from 99. And
Yeah?
I think for a while, I'm just going to do it this way. Because New Japan in the 90s is not as fun as I had anticipated. It started out fun with the early 90s.
Yeah.
You know, Vader was there.
Yeah, the war invasion and stuff that you were talking about when I
Yeah,
got
like
on.
that shit was kind of cool. Okay, I'm watching this I'm watching through 95 and 96, and this is brutal. Every main event feels boring. Nothing feels hot. There's hardly anything going on in the juniors, despite, like, if I want to find the juniors, I have to really search for them. And they're not in the archives.
That's really bad.
Tag titles are like non-existent in the archives, but goddamn it, they got their main events, and they are not for me.
That's a real shame. I guess. So I've always heard that nothing beats '90s New Japan, but I mean, from what I was watching of it, I was like, no, this shit's garbo.
I find it boring. I just straight find it boring. I mean, there's some winners in there every now and again, but the majority of it, I can't watch these 6-man tags anymore. Can't do it. The stories are very dry. I don't think there's enough there. And watching All Japan in comparison to it all, the All Japan Pro Wrestling style is definitely being more modernized, especially with that group of guys over there. Tag teams feel hot. Now it's like the same 4 guys over and over again, but you get the occasional things that are outside of it. You get the gaijins coming in and doing good things there. You know, we saw Williams and Terry Gordy in the early 90s. You know, there's a lot of good things, but I did watch February 25th, 96, and there was a tag title match there. And I'm like, oh God, the tag titles exist. Who got them? Well, Shinya Hashimoto and Junji Harada, the former Super Strong Machine, they're the tag champions. And they're up against the freaking Hustle duo. It's Takayama and Yoji Anjo. And they are a couple geek nerds. I do not like these guys. They're all over.
They make hustle. They make hustle, and I love hustle.
Well, Anjo's definitely involved, and he is no good. I do not like him. He is a straight-up geek nerd. And he's got fucking like 200 stamped on his forehead for God knows what reason. He's got 200 on his pants.
Guy.
Yeah. Takayama is this lumbering, just weird dude, and the whole match is just Shinya Hashimoto kind of no-selling these guys, and he slaps the shit out of them every now and again. Gives them one good kick, and you know, I like Super Strong Machine. He's not moving so well in 1996 here. He is he's hurting, it looks like, and his wrestling kind of shows it. So when it's not Hashimoto kind of trying to beat the piss out of these dudes, and he's just walking around giving a good shot every now and again, it's kind of okay. But it's mostly just Anjo and Takayama beating up Harada, and it leads to Hashimoto just getting an armbar on Takayama, and it's over. It's nothing to
recommend. Gets a pass from me for making for introducing the world to the pop culture icon Hard Gay.
Yeah, at least Hustle, I'm entertained by its madness.
It's crazy. I love it. Hard Gay wrestled an egg. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot more presentation to it all. So I mean, I'll watch like at least one New Japan match that catches my eye. But you know, I'll go month by month that I have been, and eventually an All Japan match will come up, and I'll just kind of start slipping these in before the Nitro review in timestamps. That's what I'll do.
It sounds like it's a rough time, and that's never. I feel like the worst thing you can do in pro wrestling, you can be bad and have bad angles and bad matches, but I think the worst thing you can do is be boring.
Yeah, once you start feeling it's boring, it's kind of like, okay, I got to take a step
you
back.
end up losing it, right? There's no coming back from that.
Well, that's kind of why I'm watching those All Japan ones as well, to kind of get that comparison. It's like, oh, so this is why All Japan was very exciting. All right, Monday Night Nitro, May 17th, 1999. Now you're like, wait a minute, Slamboree was like May 5th or whatever. Well, funny you mentioned that. They were preempted for a week.
What were they preempted by?
Let's go with sports.
Let's just go with sports ball.
Yeah, I think the NBA playoffs were on.
99? Yeah, that probably would be much more entertaining.
So this episode of Nitro comes from the 5 seasons in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We have Shivani and Heenan on the commentary booth. I'm going to my favorite segment in the show, and that was when the camera comes back for a commercial. Heenan and Shivani have Surge in front of them, and there's a couple, 10-year-olds with huge baggy white Surge shirts, and they're just showing them off, baby. They're just like, Surge t-shirt, yeah! And they're plugging the Surge.
To advertise it.
They're plugging the Surge. Shivani's like, I don't want to drink this shit. I'm not doing it.
We should ask him. Someone should try to find a way to email him or ask him. Did he ever drink the Surge?
Oh, we've seen him drink. We've seen him drink it before.
We haven't seen. We've just seen the thing go away. He could have been dumping it out for all we know.
Oh, I don't know. I think he was obligated. We saw Kevin Nash drink the Surge.
Oh, so drink a whole Surge. He drank the whole thing.
All right. So last we left off, Kevin Nash won the title at Slamboree. I'm sure
Kevin
Kay,
Nash.
you were just dying to know if he was gonna give the title to Eric Bischoff or some shit.
No, actually, I was dying to know if my prediction was going to come true with the right next night of Macho Man was going to beat him for the belt.
Yeah, you never know if it's just going to happen on the next Nitro or not. It's no build to anything. But what we did leave off with at the pay-per-view was Eric Bischoff just saying Piper won the match. So he
clearly got pinned.
Right. So Flair has now lost control of the company to Roddy Piper. And he's not fired, but he's fired, but not fired.
Doesn't matter. He still comes into the building, and then they put the fucking sign, or Little Nate puts his sign back up on the thing.
This first hour of Nitro was painful. Nothing happened.
It was Eric Bischoff talks into a void, cut back to Shivani and crew, and they say a sentence, and we cut right back to Bischoff into the void. He repeats himself 3 times.
They do it.
It's
forever.
He says, Piper should have won. He got screwed. Y'all saw he got screwed. Cuts back to Shivani. Well, more from Eric Bischoff. Cuts back. Piper got screwed. Ric Flair doesn't own the company. You can tell me what I want. And then he keeps going on, but he's listing off names of people we don't fucking know, and the general audience doesn't know these people, so why are you name dropping them?
Yeah, he's naming a bunch of backstage guys and Turner representatives. We don't know any of this. He's referencing WCW being number 1 in the ratings for 88 straight weeks. He's saying he's apologizing, basically saying Nitro's bad. He's gonna make it up to the fans. It's so meta terrible. Because he's telling us, the audience, that, oh, I know, Nitro's been terrible, and it's partly my fault.
No, it's so weird because how he says it. He's like, yeah, we were number 1 for, was it 89, 83,
88.
whatever the fuck, 88 weeks. It's but I owe it to you, the fans. It's been bad, and I'm going to do everything to make it up, starting with this episode. His exact words, starting with this episode. You know what this episode doesn't do? What can I guess what this episode doesn't do?
It doesn't do anything different, that's for sure. And it's still bad.
No kidding.
We get
it was so bad.
Yeah, also in this first hour, we get Flair coming out with his entourage. He's with Mean Gene. Anderson said he's going to get the tag titles back. Whoopee. Ric Flair says Bischoff doesn't have authority. He's still the boss. Ted Turner doesn't. If Ted Turner doesn't fire Bischoff, Flair is going to let Jane Fonda ride Space Mountain. That's Ted Turner's wife, by the way.
So the weirdest thing I got from this entire thing is Bischoff and Flair and even Piper keep referencing Ted Turner firing people. Now, has Ted Turner ever made an appearance on Nitro?
No.
So everyone who knows Ted Turner just kind of knows him as the guy that owns TNT and shit, Turner, right?
Yes.
I believe your average audience probably isn't even aware that he owns the network or is as involved with this company as he is.
I disagree. Like, everyone knew it was Big Money Ted.
Okay, so even if they are aware, they don't know him other than the guy that has the pocketbook. Why? As somebody who has never been on Nitro, has never exercised any executive authority on Nitro.
Yeah, they make him this ghost character on Nitro all the time, and I never understood why exactly, other than...
It's so confusing, because it doesn't mean anything.
Well, it's 'cause
I don't care if he fires me. It's like, he's never gonna fire you.
No, it's because VKM on the other channels reference him all the time, and he had a inferiority...
Inferiority complex?
Inferiority complex. My words. Whatever.
I think the difference here is the guy that runs and owns the Fed is a character in the show, whereas they're not.
You missed the pay-per-view in '98 where Bischoff challenged Vince McMahon to a shoot fight at a pay-per-view and declared himself the winner when Vince didn't show up. You missed that one. That was an old-time bad thing.
Yeah, that's really dumb. I think
speaking of things that are also bad, let's speed this up. Kevin Nash challenges Bret Hart to a match on the Tonight Show, but they don't show us the Tonight Show.
No. I want to speak on this segment just briefly. So they cut to Shivani. Shivani says, "We've tried to get a hold of Bret Hart, or I have tried." He says specifically him has tried to get a hold of Bret Hart. He's tried to call him.
Right, and
he's
Mike
tried
Tenay
to phone
joins
him,
the desk
voicemails.
briefly.
And he doesn't get any. He has got any response. Only for Tenay to speak up right as Shivani's done and say the exact same fucking thing verbatim. I've tried to leave voicemails, get contact him, and then I couldn't get in contact with him. Pause. But then he got back to me and said he's not going to accept Nash's challenge on the Tonight Show. And the look on Shivani's face is of seething contempt this entire time, because he's like, "Motherfucker, I just said that. You're repeating the exact words that I just said." And then when Shivani says, or when Tenay says, "I got a hold of him," he's like, "Oh wow." What was Shivani's response? Like, "Oh wow, really?" It's so bad, and it's hilarious, because you can tell the brain right there. He's trying so hard not to laugh. He is trying so hard not to corpse. It's hilarious.
Horrible stuff. So they're building up Bret Hart, even though he's not there. His groin hurts still, and they built up him with Goldberg, and he still quit the company, but they don't mention that part.
You know who was not on this show? Goldberg.
Yep, no Goldberg.
The fans chanted for him throughout the entire show. It's a shame he's not on the show.
All right, so let's see here. Rey Mysterio defeats Evan Courageous in a quick match. Fine.
That was our first match in the show. I think we're like an hour in.
40 minutes to be exactly.
Oh, well, it felt like forever.
Yeah. 2 minutes that match went, by the way. They do a bunch of clips of Gorgeous George versus Charles Robinson from the pay-per-view, which was a thing. Flair is outside his office. He's with Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. Never say his name. Do you know him, Kay?
No, I literally looked at this guy, and so Flair's talking to him about how to take good care of him. He's trying to tell him to do the job for David, right, the entire time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, because you've been watching fucking Nitro since late November '98, and you had no clue who this guy was. I had no clue what this guy was, and I've been watching longer.
Funniest part is this guy has this look of confusion on his face. Like, he doesn't understand what he's saying. And just agree, Oh, you got me? Oh, so you got me. Okay, no problem.
Well, do you get the joke, Kay?
Oh, what's the joke?
The promoter is pushing their kid down the fans' throats until they're sick of him. And that's what he says.
Is that supposed to be a reference to Shane? Hey, you know what? Shane at least took a lot of really good bumps, some nasty bumps. He wasn't the best in-ring wrestler. But, he was at least fun as shit to watch get ragdolled.
Yeah, Booker T talks about the TV title, doesn't care about Stevie Ray, blah, blah. You're going to fight Rick Steiner later. David Flair versus Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. Tori Wilson in a hot dress comes out, and she's now Tori Wilson. We found the episode. She's officially Tori Wilson K. We can finally call her anything other than, I guess it was Stacy or the hot blonde. She finally has the Tori Wilson name.
So, David Flair is not a wrestler.
You don't say.
He may be the son of Ric Flair, but boy, does that apple fall so far away from the tree, it's not even in the same yard.
So, fun fact, Buddy Lee Parker was a jobber who became a ridiculously insane trainer in WCW, and he told Batista he has no future in wrestling.
So, not a smart man.
No. But anyways, he does some clotheslines and some shoulder blocks to David Flair. The Horsemen get up on the apron, and then he takes a dive, and David locks in the figure four and submits him. Woohoo.
He celebrates like he just won the Super Bowl.
And they had also built up a tag match that was to follow. Charles Robinson and Ric Flair, Little Nate and Ric Flair versus Gorgeous George and Randy Savage themselves, a mixed tag match, the first ever on Nitro. Kay, they were out in the previous match, went to commercial, and when they came back, they did the entire Ric Flair entrance again. Like you see it up for the first. Oh yeah, the whole thing all over again.
There's a theme that I said there's a theme for this episode of Nitro here that I was saying the entire time. They're just repeating everything twice. Everything gets repeated twice because we see the same shit happen with Macho later.
Well,
the exact same entrance.
Yeah. Yep.
Changes.
Yep, we're getting there. So it's actually false advertising for their brief limited time. Gorgeous George will not be wrestling. She will be replaced by Medusa in American flag hot pants. She's very overzealous.
American flag also for these hot pants.
Yeah. The shtick here is Gorgeous George hurt her ankle or whatever. It's all a ruse.
Who cares?
Match sucks. It goes by. Medusa does not look good. She has to sell for Charles Robinson and be scared.
Man, long ways away from wrestling Chigusa
Nagayo.
It's a long way from wrestling Chigusa Nagayo, huh?
Yeah, but basically, Savage wins the match. Who cares?
Savage also looked pretty bad. Definitely limited in his mobility.
Well,
for
sure. He's getting up there in age. He's getting slower, and he's got a bum leg. So,
and the drugs probably aren't helping.
Let's see here. Gene brings out Roddy Piper. This is where I went to the bathroom. I had to go for a walk.
So this promo is wild. So he compares Ric Flair to the fucking some daytime talk show. I'm blanking on her name now, but he compares him to that. Then Barbara Streisand. He calls her Barbara Streisand, I think.
Oh, okay.
He calls her Barbara Streisand. Okay. And then he goes on this whole thing about how he used to go into the WCW offices and he'd open Rick's door and he'd always get people concerned because Rick would be chasing himself, and he always wondered what would happen if he caught himself.
Oh, this must be. You know what? I have a vague memory of Piper cutting a David Letterman promo on Flair.
He literally, this promo has like 4 different things he jumps to, and none of it's cohesive. I literally questioned whether Roddy was on drugs because none of what he said made any sense. He said nothing. He just kept ripping on Ric Flair being crazy. And that was the end of the segment.
So Savage comes back out. He mad. He demands Bischoff gives him a title shot.
The same entrance, by the way. The same exact entrance, minus the Fiery Pyro.
Oh, yeah.
And beckons the girls from the side the same way.
Macho Man. Yeah, and he's got Gorgeous George. Medusa's back out. Nash comes out, calls them all hookers. I guess he accepts a title match in the future, unrelated. Hardcore Hack versus Finley. Finley wins. Whatever. It's a hardcore match. Fucking skipping all of those now. They suck.
It was bad.
That's right. It's a hardcore match that gets thrown out, which is also happening way too often.
You're right.
Yeah, right, Brian Knobbs comes out again and he ruins our good time.
They just throw it out. I mean, it wasn't a good match to begin with.
No.
But Fit Finley, the one thing I think is Fit Finley has his 90s spiked blonde hair. So I took from this.
So Booker T comes out for his match with Rick Steiner. Oh, but wait, no. Booker T was beaten up in the back. Rick Steiner is all whatever. Sting's music hits, so they brawl. They have a match. And then Luger comes out, and the match gets thrown out. So we're building up, I guess, Lex Luger and Sting against the Steiner brothers. I'm sure nobody will get betrayed.
No. Sting involved in betrayal? No, never. Man never gets betrayed.
Conan versus Kern Hennig. Awful match. Conan can't move. It's pretty bad.
Dude, he was gassed when he got into the ring. He cut his promo and was gassed. You could hear him heavy breathing.
Savage
this man needs some cardio.
Yeah, Randy Savage is just all over this show. He is a madman. Just near the end of the match, this made me crack up. So Hennig and Conan are lumbering around the ring. Hennig's trying to get anything out of this guy. And then all of a sudden you start hearing Randy Savage's voice. Oh, brother. Oh, Conan. Oh, I'm sorry. And then he appears out of nowhere. And you're just like, oh, there he is. And he rips Conan out of the ring and he goes...
No. He cuts that he says a line as he's making his way to the ring. This is a seek and destroy mission. Oh yeah.
This is a seek and destroy mission, brother.
No, he says oh yeah. He says seek and destroy mission. Oh yeah. It was the funniest shit on the entire
Beats
show.
him up, knocks him out. Hennig pins him. It's so funny. It's terrible.
It's a seek and destroy mission, and then I think he says something about getting a title match afterwards, and then he just destroys the match.
Garbage.
It's so funny because he says the seek and destroy part right as the camera finally cuts to him. You hear his voice.
You hear his voice. It's a seek and destroy. I'm coming. There he is. Like, okay.
You hear his voice, and then the camera cuts to him, and that's when he says, "It's a seek and destroy mission." Oh yeah. It's the funniest shit. It's great.
So Randy Savage being crazy is officially entertaining at this point. Just keep him on. Who cares? Raven Saturn.
Scott Snyder.
Yeah, Raven Saturn retained the tag titles in like the only good match on the show against Benoit and Malenko. Arn Anderson tries to do Horseman Malarkey, but Kanyon makes his upstanding return to the crew, and plays double shenanigans on the Horsemen, so they retain. It was fine.
And who better?
That's right. And then our world title match is Kevin Nash defending against DDP. This was awful because DDP. DDP came out earlier in the early. No. Did he cut a? Who cares? The point is, he recruits Bam Bam Bigelow to do whatever, be a heavy, and let's see here.
I believe the exact thing he said because he was in the back. They cut to him, and he says, "I've got help from a man from the same neck of the woods as me, Bam Bam." I'm like, "What do you mean same neck of the woods?"
So they're both from. Dude, they're both New Jersey brothers.
Yeah, fuck New Jersey.
Well, basically what happens is DDP has the heat on 7-foot Kevin Nash for a little while. The crowd does not care.
Babyface Nash, man.
The second Nash gets a big boot and whatnot, Bigelow runs in. It's a DQ. Trash gets thrown in the ring. Nobody cares. It's a fucking awful show. This Nash face turn doesn't work.
They beat up on Nash the entire time. And I felt kind of bad because there's food, like actual food, just in the ring, and Nash's face is in it. So I felt a little bit bad for him.
After the beatdown, Savage comes out, puts his own beatdown, puts lipstick on Kevin Nash, and just as he's about to drop the elbow... Did Booker T come out or some shit? No.
Booker T's dead. He's in the back taking a nap.
Who came out and saved Nash?
God, I forgot who.
No, nobody saved him. He drops the elbow and the show just ends. Right?
No. Before he drops the elbow, a fan runs into the ring.
That's what happened. A fucking fan runs in once Nash gets the lipstick and Savage gets like two big shots. He tackles this motherfucker. I was like, man, I want to see that.
Out of him.
This fucking fan. I want to see that match. That was way better.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
And the show just goes off the air, I think. It's just
so I think the idea was because Nash called Savage's women hookers, Savage got revenge by making him a hooker.
Yeah, because he kept calling him his bitch or whatever, or calling him his hooker or whatever. It's not good angle. And listen, Kevin Nash is not a babyface. Too much of an asshole. He just has asshole energy. You can't cheer for the man.
Oh no, not at all. This was a terrible show. They seem to be only getting worse. We get a decent little laugh every now and again, but whenever I think that wrestling just isn't up to par in 2021, when we watch these Nitros, I just go, yeah, they can't get that
worse.
bad.
Well, then you say that.
At least what we watch. At least what we watch. The Fed is very, very much trying to get there.
Oh, trying. I think they're already eclipsing it at this point.
It's a different kind of bad. That's for sure.
It's definitely a kind of bad. Top Road's breaking it all. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's definitely a different kind of bad. Well, all right. This was episode 90. Red Leaf Retrocast Wrestling. Dangerous 5-star final. See you next time.
See ya.